D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick 1025. The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. We hope you are having a wonderful Wednesday. Spare a thought for Willie Donick. Pete Alonso, no longer a member of the New York Mets. Willie's feeling a little sad.
I mean, come on, man.
At least he left for the Orioles and not the Dodgers.
Yeah, I honestly, I was a little more upset about Edwin Diaz than the polar bear. As much as I love the polar bear, you can't not. Scott Boras. Don't even get me started on Scott Boras.
No,
I mean,
go
I know
ahead.
people don't care.
Go ahead.
Here. He's the worst. He's the worst.
So keep
He
Willie
would
Donick
frustrate the heck out of me. But
in your
look,
thoughts.
that's just a lot of money to go. So you can find another first baseman. Edwin Diaz is pretty special. And of course, the Dodgers just get whatever they want. They have like unlimited resources. Like, I know the baseball players aren't down with the salary cap. It kind of needs to happen. And there could be a work stoppage because of it someday. Coming attractions. But winter baseball meetings going on. Lots of deals going on.
We do have sports to discuss today. Jonathan Hutton will join us from Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow at 5 o'clock. Silly Underdog Picks continues at 5:20. We have a great prize for the People's Pick, so be listening later in the program for your chance to win. We'll talk Predators, we'll talk Titans, we'll talk college football, but I do have something I would like to get off my chest before we start today's program, and I'll keep it brief. I would like to conduct a wellness check. You may have heard that In-N-Out Burger has opened its first 2 locations in our area, one in Lebanon and one in Antioch. I believe one is about to open in Murfreesboro as well.
Yes.
I saw Fox 17 showed up at one of the locations before the sun rose this morning, and there were people camping out for In-N-Out. Don't get me wrong, I like In-N-Out, but if you are camping out for a fast food hamburger, you're nuts. That's all I have to say.
I've never had a. Let me see. I'm trying to think. I've ever. Well, because I hadn't.
I think you
For a
would know
long
if you had
time,
it. You
I hadn't
would
eaten
know
beef,
if you had it.
So I don't think I've ever.
Derek doesn't strike me as a hamburger guy
Yeah,
anyway.
I don't think I've ever had a burger from In-N-Out Burger. Even when we went to, because they're big in LA, right? Cali?
Yes.
Huge.
Even
yes.
when we went out there, I think I may have ordered fries and the kids and they had burgers and stuff, but I don't think I ordered a burger.
The burgers are fine.
No.
I think I'm a fan.
Would you have? Well, you wasn't.
Would you
had
have-
you have known that it was going on? Would you have went?
I am not camping out for anything like that. There's no way. I'll wait a little bit more. Stu Grimson, my good friend, broadcast partner for a while, now with NHL Network, he was the one that said, we got to go to In-N-Out Burger. And we even got the chef's hats. You know, you go and you ask for the hat.
Yes.
You could do this at Waffle House sometimes, you know. So we have a great picture of us with the hats enjoying the In-N-Out Burger. It's really good. I'm glad they're here. But I'm kind of with you, Adam. The camping out, that's a little much. Like, do you really have a lot going on in your life if that's a priority?
Here's all I'll say. I've never wanted anything in my life enough to wait all night outside or in a car for it. Now, I know that the advances in technology have made it possible that, for example, on Black Friday, you don't need to go and stand outside of the big box store for 12 hours to get that big screen TV at 50% off. You don't need to do that anymore. But even when you had to, I never wanted anything that badly in my life. So, look, if you love In-N-Out so much that you are willing to sit in your car at 3 a.m. and wait 5-6 hours to get yourself a hamburger, kudos to you. I think you need to talk to somebody.
Were they giving out prizes? They may have been giving out an extra burger or two. I don't know. Some extra fries, free fries with every burger. And a shake.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't believe
free
there
coffee?
was any special.
Free coffee. I mean, hey, I don't know why people stand outside. I've never been the stand outside guy. But but people do it. So
And more power to you, as
they
I
love
said.
In-N-Out Burger.
But I just wanted to
I
conduct
may
a
have me
wellness
one
check.
now. I may have me one now.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
there are
Do they sell
locations-
turkey burgers,
I don't know about that.
I don't believe so.
chicken sandwiches?
Chicken sandwiches, probably.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna check.
I don't know.
People, let me know if they sell turkey burgers and or chicken sandwiches. Let me know.
Mike on our text line says, I literally live on fast food, but will wait a few days. Lebanon is 12 miles from our house. P.S. My doctor is amazed at my lab results.
For one, I want to tell you, please don't live on fast food. Don't. And you must be superhuman if your doctor looked at your results after eating fast food for how long? I mean, he says he lives on it, so we can only assume that he's been eating it routinely for at least 15 years. So, I don't
Stephen
know.
from Hendersonville says,
20
In-N-Out
maybe.
In-N-Out is so overrated. In-N-Out references the aftermath after eating that trash, not necessarily the company name or brand.
Okay, here we go, people.
Another texter says, it's not just any burger. It's a great burger. I can't wait, though. I will not be camping out.
What's your favorite burger spot, people?
And
What is
one
your favorite
more.
burger spot?
Adam has crossed the line. Get him off the air now or get him an In-N-Out burger because I said, it's fine. It's just fine.
I mean, some
It's
people
fine.
love it.
It's above average.
It's fine.
Is it better than Burger King?
I think it's a step above.
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's a step above Burger King.
Oh yeah.
I used to love Burger King.
Oh,
when I was a kid.
I grew up. I had a lot of BK. We call it the BK
Yes.
Lounge. The BK Lounge. That was our go-to.
Now, it's been a
Winter
while.
Pride.
So fancy.
Yeah.
Derek doesn't eat beef.
Yes.
So it's been a long time since he's had a hamburger. Let me
Mhm.
ask you guys this question. If we gave Derek a hamburger, would he react the way that Fernando Mendoza reacted after Indiana won the Big Ten title? Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm so excited.
Hey, listen, I've and I think I've told this story before when I had a colonoscopy. For some reason, I was
Now we're getting there.
craving.
From
A
burgers to
hamburger.
colonoscopies. What a great way to start
I
the
was
show.
And that's what they
Craving.
tell you to do,
Yeah, I
right?
was
Because you
craving
can't eat
meat,
before, and
yes.
you're like, they say, go get whatever you want.
I was craving, and people, I hadn't at that point. It had been it probably had been over 10 years since I had consumed beef, but I don't know. They put me down, they put me to sleep, did what they needed to do. I got up and I wanted a hamburger. I ate that hamburger, and you're right. I went to an establishment right on West End, popular establishment, and I ate that burger, and I felt like Mendoza when I ate that burger. That was the best burger I had ever eaten. So there you go.
So, just an aside to start the show, please don't camp out for a fast food hamburger, even if you love In-N-Out. Just wait. Just wait a little bit. My wife said to me, "Can we go to In-N-Out?" I said, "Let's give it a week. Let people who are excited about it, let them get it out of their system.
It's like the gym on New Year's Eve, on New Year's.
And then we'll go when everybody else calms
Exactly.
down." Nevertheless, let's start with the Nashville Predators, who won a fun hockey game last night, 4-3 in a shootout against the league-leading Colorado Avalanche. A game, by the way, that ended close to midnight. Ugh, I had a hard time staying up for that one, even though it was an exciting game that came down to the wire in regulation and then went to a shootout. The Predators have won 5 of 7. And we talked about this last week, guys. On one hand, I like the fact that the Predators are playing entertaining hockey, winning hockey over the past couple of weeks. It's been hard to watch the Predators play hockey over the past season and a quarter. On the other hand, I know, as I said last week, there are a lot of Predators fans who are freaking out about the fact that the Predators have won 5 of 7. They are worried that this recent stretch will give Barry Trotz a false sense of optimism about this team and drastically alter his plan. Now, you guys tell me, after talking to Barry Trotz yesterday, and we talk to him every week, I don't get the vibe from Trotz that he is going to be overly influenced by what's happening right now. But that won't stop Predators fans, those who want the team to truly rebuild, from feeling a bit scared that this 5-2-0 run is going to change the Predators' path.
First of all, you had to enjoy the game last night. It's fun to win. So let me just ask you, Derek, didn't we talk about this? Like, when is the trade deadline? Is it Christmas Day?
No.
No.
Is it New Year's Day?
No.
Is it Valentine's
No.
Day?
No.
It's after that.
It's before St. Patrick's Day.
It is before St. Patrick's Day.
Right before.
You
St.
have until
Patrick's Day.
March, okay?
Yes.
Can we just see what happens? I think your take on Barry Trotz is the right one. He knows the reality. It's still a long shot. But they're only 5 points out. They would have to play like a different team, like the one they look like here recently. There's cause for some optimism, but they've got time to sort it out. If what you think the direction they're on continues,
Close to it at least.
so you still have over half a season, but if they're the team that they've been, then it's going to be pretty obvious what they're going
29
to do.
games, yes, 29.
But hey, the halfway point is still a month away.
It is, and this is the question that I was going to ask you and you guys, because it sort of seemed like it's following the same path from a fan standpoint as the Tennessee Titans in a sense, because anytime the Titans win a game from here, it's just like the fans are going to go crazy, and not crazy in a good way. They're going to go crazy as far as you're messing up our draft position. We need more, players. We need some young players. We need, things to help make this team better. And fans are going to, and we heard some of it yesterday, and we're going to continue to hear it. The more and more the Titans, if they win another game or two, fans are going to be freaking out because Tankathon, it goes from being the first team to draft to maybe the third or fourth team. And being second or third in this situation may be the best thing for the Titans, considering there's not one or two premier quarterbacks that people are already looking at as the number one pick. And then you look at the Predators. I think the Predators are in a different space than the Titans are, relative to the organization and the season. But I don't think, and you keep willing and smartly, you keep saying, listen, don't worry about it. The trade deadline is in March. So what is that cutoff point where fans need to say, okay, I see where this team is going. And even with wins, we may still be able to achieve what we want to achieve moving forward. Because I think in this winning, I think you have to start seeing, and Barry said it, some of these young guys start to develop within the wins, and you started seeing sparks from them. Because if you don't, then it does give the fan base a false sense of reality. Like, yeah, we're doing well, but the younger guys are not the guys that are, help leading this.
Yeah, I think that is a big thing to watch. And last night they got some good contributions from a couple of young guys, Fedor Svechkov and Adam Wilsby, two guys that have been with them for a while. They're not brand new. I thought they played exceptional games, really good compared to what you've seen, some ups and downs for them. But, can one of them turn a corner? Can both of them play better? And then Reed Schaefer had another nice goal last night. He's not playing a lot right now. They're trying to, work him in slowly, but you can see the tools that he has. Big guy with strength and some skill to go with it. I think if they continue to have that wave of players that are on the ice each night, then I think the fans will have something to cling to, regardless of how many games they end up winning. I mean, the perfect storm is all of a sudden they go on a great run and they get in the mix. Well, it's been underwhelming, the teams in the West. You would agree, Adam, right? It's not like the wild card spots are out of reach. Like the Titans were 1-7 out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's closer to halfway. So it'd be more like 1-6 or 1-5. The Predators they're not that far from being in contention. Right now, they're not in contention. But if they were to win another 5 out of 7 and be 10-4, then just because the rest of the league, the rest of the West anyway, nobody really seems to be taking control of that. I'm curious what that would look like. But they're still a long way from that, right? That this game tomorrow will tell us a little bit more. That's a team that's right in the mix, a team that has struggled some. Are they better than the Blues right now? We'll find out tomorrow.
I think the one thing that should give Predators fans comfort, Predators fans who are on the oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, they're winning too much side of the fence.
Those guys need to just relax a little bit. It's okay.
But
Just
they're
enjoy.
out there.
Just enjoy.
You know they're out
Just
there.
enjoy.
One thing that I think should give that group of fans comfort is the fact that if you listen to our interviews with Barry Trotz every week, he is incredibly open-minded. He is not ruling out trading anybody. He told us yesterday he is willing to take on bad contracts if it helps the Predators get a better return on a trade. It appears that he is, as I just said, willing to entertain anything. So I know there are going to be people who, as soon as I said that, are texting in right now, 615-737-1025, and saying, well, I don't trust Barry Trotz. And that's a you thing. If you don't trust Barry Trotz to make the right decisions, you are entitled to your opinion. It hasn't been going well for Barry Trotz as of late, so I understand that position. But he is not shutting the door on anything. By comparison, what were the reports we were hearing about Jeffrey Simmons ahead of the NFL trade deadline? Simmons is off limits. The Titans aren't even considering trading Jeffrey Simmons. And we'll talk about Jeffrey Simmons later in the program. The Predators aren't doing that. There are not reports out there. Barry Trotz says Ryan O'Reilly is off limits. Steven Stamkos is off limits. No, he's not doing that. So, although the Predators have been winning more games, I believe that Trotz is realistic enough to know that a lot has to go right for them to really get back in the mix. So I appreciate the fact that Trotz isn't closing the door on anything. That would be my plea, I guess you could say. My counter argument to the oh my god, they're winning too much crew.
Yeah. They have time. They will be who they are. I think he is giving them as much runway as he can, all the while gauging the early signs of what would the market bear for some of their best players. I do think the good thing is they have players who are attractive to other teams, and they could get assets if they go that way. But at the same time, I don't get this team is not playing like they want to just be done. They're really giving it a shot. Like it's authentic. You hear that those guys in the locker room, the veterans, they don't want to break up the team. They're running out of time, but they're playing inspired hockey right now. Last night, it was a gutsy win against the best team in hockey.
615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We will take your thoughts on the Predators' 4-3 shootout win against the Avalanche. Nashville has won 5 of its past 7 games. 615-737-1025. Speaking of the Predators, Smashville Live returns tonight at 6 on 1025 The Game, live from Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue. You can meet your Predators players up close and personal. You can get autographs and pictures. The Predators guests tonight are Luke Evangelista and Nick Blankenberg. I imagine there are going to be a lot of younger fans at Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue tonight.
What makes you say that?
Have you seen the cover of Nashville Lifestyles magazine?
I thought you were going to say because Max Hurst is hosting the show.
Everyone loves
Wow.
Max.
You just totally disregard Max, huh?
You mean high maintenance Hurst?
Yeah, you and Max got
High maintenance Hurst.
He and Max got this ongoing like beef. Like at the end of our shows when we're at Bridgestone.
Yes.
So they got this beef going on.
I'll explain during the break.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to start anything here.
But
It's already
I'm
started.
looking
The
for
beef
it.
has already started.
I will be
yes.
listening to the show on the way home. And then, of course, we are bookending Smashville Live tonight because we have our show with the Underdogs, their show. Max Hurst, Kara Hammer will be hosting with Blankenberg and Evangelista. And then, Adam, what's after that?
Preds Insiders with
Yes,
Adam
it is.
Finken and Willie Donick.
And by the way, it's in the can. We're not going to be hanging out at the studio all night. It's in the can.
It is in the can, thanks to David
Radio
James.
Magic.
But that
Radio Magic.
okay. Let me
Don't
get
tell
back.
anybody, though. Don't tell anybody. We've already.
Can I
we've
finish?
No one knows. No one knows.
Can I finish my read now?
Sorry.
That's Luke Evangelista and Nick Blankenberg tonight at Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue and only on 1025 The Game.
All right, let's talk F&M Bank. Banking made easy on purpose. 20 locations in our listening area. And if you're one of those people that has financial goals for 2026, and one of them might be need to tighten up financially, want to do a little bit better, understand what's going on. I've been there, believe me. And that's why F&M Bank really stresses banking made easy on purpose. The attitude is they're going to help you take some of that burden off, take the stress off, take that fear of, well, I don't even want to look at my bank statement. How about just having a good relationship where anytime something's going on, you can call that banker? That's what they aim to do. They've got a lot of great tools to help you, like the Smart Swipe card I talk about all the time, where it's a simple way to save a little extra money because it rounds up to the nearest dollar every time you use that debit card. Ask about these things by finding your nearest location, myfmbank.com. That's myfmbank.com. There's 20 locations in our listening area. They want to help you. They sponsor our Take It to the Bank every Friday at 5:45. It's F&M Bank, member FDIC.
This is really sort of a Like a perfect storm of quarterback crap. Like in dealing with Daniel Jones getting hurt, and I'm not making light of it, but like Daniel Jones having a torn Achilles after playing on a fractured fibula. Riley Leonard tweaks his knee. You've got Anthony Richardson, who has the orbital injury. Like from what I understand, he's still resting that eye. There's no timetable for his return. And, you've got a team that's clearly reeling. There's lost 3 games in a row. That's got a gauntlet down the stretch, has Seattle and San Francisco the next couple of weeks. If you're Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen and the guys in charge there, you're doing everything you can to try to create some level of hope that they can, dig what was an incredibly promising season out of a ditch.
That was Albert Breer talking about the Indianapolis Colts quarterback situation. And I just learned that we may be deprived of something we all want to see Sunday in the NFL. The major news the other day, the Colts signed 44-year-old grandpa Phillip Rivers. But unfortunately for all of us, the Colts listed Riley Leonard as a full participant in today's practice. So if the Colts need him Sunday against Seattle, he would be available. And I have a soft spot for Riley Leonard. He did attend Duke University for a minute. Then he went to Notre Dame. And we'll talk about Notre Dame in a little bit because the Fighting Irish keep stepping in it. But I ask the Indianapolis Colts, please play Phillip Rivers. Don't take this away from us. We want to see it. But I'm worried that we won't because Riley Leonard practiced today.
Well, I mean, it was a break in case of emergency. Well, you broke it, and it still may be an emergency. You need to see how Riley Leonard does this game. So you still got it waiting to be used. But it's just, I mean, the story in general. I do feel like if I'm a Colt fan, God, your emotions got to be so up and down right now because you started off the season so promising. Daniel Jones came in and sort of resurrected, or he started to resurrect his career under Shane Steichen. And they had a good running game. Defense was playing well. Then all of a sudden, your quarterback gets hurt, but he still plays. And then he just completely tears his Achilles. And your team has lost, 4 out of the last 5 games, or 3 out of the last 4, somewhere around there. And you went from being a potential, at least AFC champion, to you may not even make the playoffs if that quarterback situation doesn't work itself out. Yeah, they can lean on Jonathan Taylor, but it's not like they have this shutdown defense either. So, man, Riley Leonard, hopefully he comes in for their sake, comes in and at least can not lose them games, because you got to understand with the Colts, they have it's almost like Ryan Tannehill in a sense when Ryan was here. Don't do nothing to lose us the game. Make plays when there's plays to be made, but don't lose us the game, because we got Derrick Henry, we got A.J. Brown, we got all these guys, and the defense is pretty good, so don't lose us the game. I think Riley Leonard would be the same way. They got Jonathan Taylor. They got some receivers. Offensive line's pretty good. Defense is okay, not great. Just don't lose us the game.
The Colts are 1-4 since starting 7-1. At the moment, the Colts are the first team out in the AFC playoffs. And I'm wondering how much serious trouble the Colts are in, not just now, but I mean in the immediate future as well. Remember, the Colts traded their first-round picks in 2026 and 2027 for Sauce Gardner. Daniel Jones tore his Achilles. That's a long-term injury. If the Colts retain him, he's not going to be ready for the start of next season. They have Riley Leonard. They have Anthony Richardson. Who the hell knows with Anthony Richardson, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But they have Sauce Gardner. I wonder how they're feeling about that right now.
They went for it.
They did go for it, and he's talented. But 2 first-round picks? Does he? That's a lot.
It's a whole lot. And now they sit with no first round pick.
Yeah,
right.
And they may not make the They may not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. And they are not in a position, for example, if they miss the playoffs and they decide, look, Daniel Jones isn't going to be ready for the start of next season. Riley Leonard, who knows what he could be. We don't believe in Anthony Richardson. Philip Rivers will be 45 years old by this next season or whatever. They don't have the ammunition to trade up to get a quarterback either.
Correct.
So I'm sure Titans fans love hearing that, but
And
it's not a
this-
good situation for the Colts.
And this is where I can segue the Tennessee Titans into this mix. And I'm not sure if many people thought of this. Because we mentioned this months ago, not necessarily the Indianapolis Colts, because obviously Indianapolis wasn't in the position that they were in. We were talking about, whether the Titans should keep Levis or not as the backup. And I think, Adam, you were like, they need to keep him, as the backup. That would be, keeping him as a backup.
That was Willie.
Was it Willie? You were saying, somebody was saying they could keep him as a backup.
I
And
would keep him. I
Yeah.
would keep him around for a while. I'm not going to say never trade him, but I wouldn't just throw him to the curb for nothing or take scraps in a trade, because we've seen too many guys
Mhm.
blossom at least into decent backups. That's what I would hope.
But he
for.
would never blossom here as a decent backup. Why? Because he's never going to get the opportunity to blossom here as a decent backup. So my thinking is, and the Titans may not ever do something like this because you're trading within the conference,
The division.
the division.
Oh,
Excuse me,
yeah.
not the conference.
The
You're
conference
trading
and
with-
the division.
Yeah, but you're trading within the division, which is the most important thing. Would you be willing? Because prior to that, we were discussing, well, what could they possibly get for a Will Levis trade? And I said, if they get a fourth or a fifth, that's good for me, because he's not going to be your starting quarterback. And you know that. And other teams know that. So Indy is in a position where they have no first round pick. They don't know about Richardson. Daniel Jones, that's a 2-year, really not next season, but it'll be a season after that where he's probably more 100% than next season. So they're in a position where they don't have a first round pick. They may not be fully sold on Richardson. It seems like they're not, at least from my vantage. Riley Leonard may not be the guy. Why not kick the tires on a Will Levis, or the Titans? Hey, I see you need a quarterback. What are you willing? Because you get a guy that has played some games, that have won some games, that have done pretty good, but also he's done pretty bad. But I know the ego is there of a Shane Steichen to say, I can work with that kid. He got something. Strong arm, mobility, he can make the throws. Yeah, a little erratic. Yeah, he can do, but I can work with him. Why not breach that with Indianapolis? I get it, they're a division team, but you're trying to help yourself.
Well,
and
so what would you take?
Will Levis is not
You would
going to be
take
your
a fourth
quarterback.
rounder.
I would take a fourth rounder for him. Third or fourth. You may be able to get a third depending on Indianapolis if they're that desperate, if they believe in their mind that Richardson, he's just not the guy.
The Colts have to pay the AFC South tax. We would give Will Levis to this team for this much, but because you're our division rival, we're going to require you to give up this much.
It could be that.
What if Philip Rivers just goes in and lights it up, though?
Let me
Nah,
ask you
no.
a question. Hold on. Let me ask a question.
He's back.
Who gives-
45-year-old
45-year-old Philip Rivers.
Philip Rivers, opening day starter.
Sounds a 3-year deal.
Here comes Pete Paul coming out.
Who gives the Colts a better chance to win on Sunday? Riley Leonard, who has never started a game in the NFL, or 44-year-old Philip Rivers, who would be making his first start in 1,800 days?
Doesn't he need need a week just to get
He's getting a
going?
week. He's
getting a
that
week
week.
now.
Yeah, he's getting this is a week.
Now, here's the kicker.
Like an extra week?
JJ Watt tweeted this yesterday. Quote, fun fact learned in production meetings. Philip Rivers ran the same offense as the Colts for his son Gunner's high school team this season. He and Shane Steichen spoke weekly about it, discussing plays and even film. So familiarity with the scheme should be no problem whatsoever. So again, I asked the question, a Riley Leonard who has never started an NFL game, or a 44-year-old Philip Rivers who hasn't played in 1,800 days, but has familiarity with the scheme because he's coaching his son's football team.
All right, D-Mace, I have a question. I got a question.
Okay.
he's running the same scheme.
Yes.
Am I to believe that a high school scheme, like I get the concepts are the same and things like that, but it's a little different in the NFL, right?
It may be condensed some. The terminology, obviously, depending on the makeup of your team, can they, regurgitate, hear it, put it into action, not just in the film room, but go out on the field in real time. Are they able to sort of regurgitate what you've been teaching them? So I'm sure that it was, and when I say dumbed down, I'm not saying that these kids don't know, but a play can be long, like a play call can be like 8 words. And maybe only 2 of those words really mean something, but it's like 8 words. You expect these 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, 15, to be able to take all of that stuff in. It's hard. It's difficult. So I'm sure the concepts were there. Why do you run these plays? Okay, but I'm going to call it something else just for the sake of my players. It may have some wording in the same, but I'm going to call it something else so it's easier for them to digest in a sense. But I would go with Phillip Rivers. I would make Riley Leonard the backup.
Will he answer the same question?
In this first week, I've got to try Leonard. He's been there the whole time. I've got to try him. If he crashes and burns, then your decision is easy. But I wouldn't just throw Rivers in there right away. He's off the street.
Man,
He's right off the street.
but you got the best running game in the game. You got one of the best offensive lines in the game.
I mean, don't you think
he got some good receivers? He may not get touched, Willie.
He could pull a hammy in the first drive. That's what happens. Like on the softball field, guys get out there.
You never put him under center.
Wild.
You never put him underneath center. Did you see Phillip Rivers last year? You think he was pulling a hamstring?
Don't tell me you haven't seen this. If you play softball or basketball in the rec league, guy comes out feeling pretty good, hits a couple of jumpers early, and all of a sudden, it's time.
You must have been that dude, Willie.
All of a sudden, that hammy goes on you. Oh,
he does his trot.
Hey, listen. If you watch, Phillip Rivers ain't running nowhere, man. He's either throwing the football, he's going down. Yes, he won't run fast enough to pull a hamstring.
I guess that's possible.
615-737-1025. We will take your thoughts on the Colts quarterback situation. Who gives them the best chance to win on Sunday? A young quarterback who has never started an NFL game, or a 44-year-old quarterback who hasn't played in 5 years? 615-737-1025. But coming up next, I do want to talk about the AFC playoff picture as a whole, because I do think we are finally going to get something a lot of us want. 615-737-1025. Our show is presented by Bax Homeworks. Remodeling done right. Get a free estimate now at baxhomeworks.com. Starting tomorrow between noon and 3, Chase and Big Joe will have your chance to win a $100 Moments Peace Salon and Day Spa gift card, and you can qualify to win a $1,000 Genesis Diamonds gift card. It's the 12 Days of Christmas on 1025 The Game. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Quickly, some breaking news in college football. Per ESPN, Michigan has fired head football coach Sharon Moore.
Oof.
Yeah, a bunch of cheaters, all of them. They just had to pay a $30 million. That's the crazy part about it. They had to pay 30 million or something. They had to pay a bunch of money. They got picks taken away from. Recruits, scholarships taken away.
They did receive a series of fines that eclipsed $30 million,
Exactly.
or could eclipse $30 million.
All of these things that what does that signify? Cheating, right?
Right?
Cheating, right? And they still were able to play and win the national championship.
Don't get me started.
And they blatantly cheated.
Disclaimer.
Now,
Derek Mason.
D-Base used to, he wouldn't even say
Man.
it before. He's cutting loose now.
Okay.
He held back a little bit.
Look, during College Game Day last weekend, Reese Davis took a moment when they were talking about Lane Kiffin to say, 3 of us on the panel are represented by CAA, not Jimmy Sexton, but we're represented by CAA. Disclaimer, Derek Mason is a proud alum of Michigan State
Absolutely.
University.
Absolutely.
So we need to put that out there as you're railing on Michigan. We need to put that out there.
And listen, and I'm a Big Ten guy through and through. But come on. Y'all, everything that says guilt, like if somebody does something and they go to court and everything says guilty, 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 and you just still let them have what they stole or took or whatever, that makes no damn sense.
Here's some more information from Austin Meek of The Athletic. Confirmed via source that Michigan has fired Sharon Moore, believed to involve a violation of university policy.
Yeah, that was the easy way to get him out of there after that paying all that money. I mean, come on, man. That was a whole cluster. The NCAA, which Tommy, does he still work at the NCAA? Tommy?
I think he does.
He may be the only person now.
He has the landline.
But the NCAA
He's got the blinders in the office. There's not a lot of stuff on the wall.
Boxes everywhere.
It's
like, dude,
he's waiting for the phone call.
Y'all basically said they were guilty, but y'all still gave them the championship.
Well, now he's fired.
Yeah, he's not. You know where he's gonna end up?
Where?
The Chargers. It is either Chargers or the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, we'll
Most likely
see.
the Chargers.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised.
But speaking of the AFC playoff picture, we were just talking about the Indianapolis Colts. They are 8-5 after starting 7-1. But I'm looking at the AFC playoff picture. Here are your projected matchups based on the current standings. The Denver Broncos would have the bye as the number 1 seed at 11-2. The 7th seeded Texans would travel to the 11-2 Patriots. So Texans at Patriots, Chargers at Steelers, Bills at Jaguars. Are you noticing a team that I didn't mention?
Mm-hmm.
The Kansas City Chiefs. What about the Baltimore Ravens? The Baltimore Ravens aren't in the AFC playoffs right now either. Both of those teams are 6-7. And I'll just say, I don't hate the idea of Kansas City and Baltimore after so many years of being in the playoffs, competing for the AFC, taking a step back. The Chiefs have been in either the AFC Championship game or Super Bowl each of the past 7 years. And quite frankly, I don't mind not having to watch them potentially in the playoffs. But if you're Sean Payton, coach of the 11-2 Broncos, or Mike Vrabel, coach of the 11-2 Patriots, you have to be licking your chops a little bit, right? When you look at this potential path to an AFC championship.
I think one of the more underrated things in sports is when you have a great year and you have a chance to win, and it happens to be on a year where other teams struggle, nobody ever counts that against you when you win the title. Nobody says, well, so-and-so didn't. Only in a rare instance, like, well, Michael Jordan was retired. Like for those 2 years, like that gets mentioned. But it's lining up really well. And that's what I think is most disappointing on the occasions where the Titans a couple of times have had everything fall into place and have created a great opportunity for themselves as a 1 seed, but couldn't take advantage. That's happened 2 or 3 times in their existence. Most recently, the Bengals game that everybody's still throwing their hands up going, how did they lose that game? And of course, the Bengals ended up doing pretty well after that. It's not like that was a fluke and they lost the next week. They went on and did great things. But when you have that opportunity, like Sean Payton, he probably is careful on how he talks about it with the media. And he's one of those guys. He learned from Bill Parcells how to handle the media. He goes on the offensive. But he knows that he could have an opportunity as a 1 or a 2 seed, and he doesn't have to worry about the Chiefs or the Ravens at all. And if you play the Bills, it will be in your backyard where you have Mile High Stadium. What a huge opportunity. I don't know if he thought this was possible going into the season.
It reminds me a little bit of back in the 90s when Jordan retired, and those 2 years, Houston ended up winning back-to-back championships. But on the Eastern Conference, that was finally an opportunity for the Knicks. The Knicks to try to win a championship. The Chicago Bulls, the mighty Bulls, are there no longer because Jordan's gone, and you didn't take.
You didn't get it done
of the opportunity. I look at this, and we could tie the Titans like into this a little bit from this standpoint of the AFC South. But if you look at just the AFC as a whole, what we're starting to see now is some of these younger quarterbacks really and truly emerge that we've been waiting on. All but, say, Pittsburgh and Buffalo. Bo Nix is coming on. CJ Stroud having a better season's coming on. Drake Mays coming on. Trevor Lawrence. Herbert from the Chargers. So these teams, their quarterbacks are now starting to really do the things necessary for them to win games. And they believe now, without the possibility of a Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens and Mahomes and the Chiefs, I think it's more so a mystique. Like, you have them in the playoff, and it's almost like, oh man, we got to go for these gauntlets of teams led by Mahomes and Jackson. Now they're not in it, so there's still there's not that big boogeyman. There's not those two big boogeyman.
I was literally about to use the word boogeyman. Who has been the boogeyman for the Buffalo Bills? Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Josh Allen hasn't been able to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs.
And so I think the Bills fit your category about the Knicks
exactly
in the post-Jordan.
This is a great opportunity for the Bills if they can take advantage of it.
But it pulls everybody else in, like the Indiana Pacers and teams like that wasn't going to win.
Jazz.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there are great teams that we can, right off the top of our head, think of that probably were good enough to win a championship, a Super Bowl, a Stanley Cup, whatever, but they just couldn't get by the one team. And now they've got that pathway. The Bills have to be feeling it. I don't know that this is the best Bills team of the last 3 or 4 years. Josh Allen's as good as it's ever been, but the supporting cast, there's some flaws there. But the Bills fans have to be going, gosh, if we can't win it now, when are we ever going to win it?
And then you look at it from the AFC South angle. Going into the season, we thought the AFC South was going to be weakest division.
And now you have 2 potential AFC South teams in the playoffs?
Now you
Maybe
may have 3 with Indianapolis.
That's true.
Depending on how their season ends. So you may end up what ends up being the weakest may end up representing the most teams in the playoffs.
And that would be bad for the Titans.
And that would be bad for the Titans for this reason. And we talked about this months ago. This is why it was so imperative for the Titans to get it right this time. Because if you don't get it right this time, you know who else is continuing to develop? Stroud, Lawrence, then we thought Daniel Jones was like, oh man, they got them a guy. But what if Indianapolis lucked themselves into getting another quarterback somehow, some way? I don't know. The further and further, the longer it takes you to get your guy, teams that already have their guy in your division is going to continue to get further and further away from you. That's why I said it's imperative for Cam Ward to be the guy. He has to be the guy. Why? Because these other two teams, and well, let's say two, because Indianapolis is still in that phase. But before the injuries, there were three teams that essentially had their guy moving forward. And the Titans was the one team that didn't.
Let's go to Zane in Clarksville on our phone line, driven by Wilson County Hunter.com. Zane, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Hey.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay. I was just fond of your prophecy of Kansas City. I hope they make the playoffs for one. I don't know what. I know you respect Kansas City, and I think they have a pretty good team, playoffs or not. But do you really want them to not make the playoffs this year and pick 15th for the first 4 rounds of the draft?
Thank you for the call, Zane.
They've been pretty good at
Yeah.
drafting. That's
Yes.
for sure.
I mean, for me, I don't. If Kansas City makes it, great. If they don't, man, it doesn't matter to me. But I think once you start looking at other fan bases, and whether it be Denver's fan base or, like Willie said, really Buffalo's fan base, if I can get into the playoffs without having to face Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, but there's still some good damn quarterbacks.
And Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
like,
Joe Burrow. Then I do feel a sense of, I know we got a long road ahead of us, but at least we ain't got to face those guys. So
I just have to read this quote from Shane Steichen about Phillip Rivers. From ESPN.com. After mulling over the idea with his wife and family and seeking the counsel of some trusted associates, Rivers called the Colts on Tuesday morning with a final decision. Here's a quote from Shane Steichen. Quote, I said, what do you think? Steichen said Wednesday. He said, dadgummit, let's freaking go. Dadgummit? That's a grandpa word if I've ever heard it. Dadgummit.
No doubt.
So,
man, hold on? Do you think this is because Phillip, he and his wife, they got a lot of kids.
10.
Do you think this is almost a vacation for him? Hell, like, man, count me in. Like, please.
Are you saying when he pulled out of his driveway with his football helmet that there was some tire tracks screeching?
Exactly.
There was some smoke coming up off the driveway?
Absolutely.
He
Man.
said he wasn't very subtle when he left the house.
615.
But dadgummit,
Yes.
that is
Dadgummit.
classic old school. There used to be a song. Remember the great Pat Summitt? There was a guy who wrote a song, Dadgummit, Pat Summitt. Big hit.
Where's that guy at now?
I don't know. He's probably still getting royalties somewhere.
When was the last time you heard anybody under the age of 70 use the word dadgummit? 615.
Today.
Yep, today. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, the Tennessee Titans are back in action on Sunday at the San Francisco 49ers. Could their next head coach be on San Francisco's sideline this weekend? We'll discuss coming up next. 615-737-1025. You can join Chase and Big Joe tomorrow from noon to 3 at the Dunkin' located at 1040 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Nashville. Stop by with a stuffed toy and donate it to a child this holiday season. 1025 The Game has teamed up with Nashville Children's Alliance to give all these awesome stuffed toys donated by you. Just for stopping by, you'll be qualified for a 4-pack of tickets in the all-inclusive 501 Club at Bridgestone Arena to a Preds home game. A special thanks to the Metro Nashville Police Department, the Catalano Group, the Bluemont Group, Family Leisure, Thompson Machinery, Richmar Florist, Right Time HVAC, and Relodyne. For more information and a list of Dunkin' locations that you can donate a stuffed toy, visit thegamenashville.com/toy. D Mace, Vingan, and Donick 1025. The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. We've got some giveaways coming up on the show. Be listening this hour for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see the Belmont women's basketball team take on Kentucky at the Curb Event Center on Sunday. Also, still the Underdog Picks coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. If you represent the people and win, you will win a pair of tickets to see Trevor Noah at the Ryman on February 10th. So some great prizes. So be listening for the remainder of the show. A quick update. We mentioned that Michigan has fired football coach Sharon Moore. The university has put out a statement saying he has been fired for cause because, quote, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member.
Well, we know what that was. Absolutely 100%. We know what that was. And I take it that it was a big deal, maybe because one of them or both have a significant other. So, unfortunately for Michigan, they are enthralled in another.
Does part of you secretly love this, though?
Kind of, sort of.
I mean, I'm open.
I'm just eating my popcorn and I'm watching.
Look, I'm open about how much I've loved whatever the hell's going on at North Carolina with Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson. So
I don't wish ill on people, but Michigan people, like Michigan, if you went to the University of Michigan and played for any of the sports teams, then if you walk yourself into something like that, then I'm gonna say you deserve what you're getting. I don't wish it on you,
right?
But if you walk yourself into that, Sharon, then okay, good for you. I hope it was worth it, brother.
A couple of texts from our previous conversations. Troy, it says Troy, not Tony. Troy, not Tony from Murfreesboro says, I don't know if you guys have covered this yet, but why didn't the Colts try to sign Ryan Tannehill? I mentioned this on the show yesterday. I discovered a new publication called Escapist Magazine, where Ryan Tannehill did an interview last month where he said, quote, about his playing career, I think that chapter is closed. I think last year that was where I was at. If the right opportunity came up and was right for our family, staying in shape and staying ready, I had plenty of calls, but nothing ever felt like the right opportunity that I was looking for. That was last NFL season. At this point, I think that ship has sailed for me. So it appears that Ryan Tannehill was not an option. Lenny says, on Derek's idea about trading Will Levis to the Colts, we have to keep Will Levis so that next year when Cam proves that he can't play as an NFL starter, we have a quarterback that can win games. Can you guys excuse me for a moment? That was the sound of me banging my head against the desk.
Oh, my goodness.
That's my response to Lenny's text. That really hurt. I don't know why I did that.
Winning games.
Don't concuss yourself. The independent spotter is going to have to come out like last night during the shootout. Did you see that?
No.
You didn't see that last night?
I was asleep during the shootout, to be honest with you.
It was close to midnight, so you're not, a night owl. But so Philip Forsberg tried his shootout move, and his momentum carried him right into Scott Wedgwood, former teammate of his, and he was immediately, oh no, what did I just do? So he leveled him. And Wedgwood appeared to be okay. He got up, he was ready to go. And the independent spotter, this is with the game on the line, the shootout, yanked him out of the game. Wedgwood.
Oh, wow.
And so he was not going to be allowed to take the next shot.
Because they thought he had a concussion?
They thought they wanted to evaluate him,
Okay.
That's the protocol. So the guy that was coming in, Mackenzie Blackwood, hadn't played the whole night. I mean, we're talking midnight. He hasn't done anything since the warm-up. And he didn't have to face a shot because UC Saros stopped the third shot for Colorado when it was a moot point. But that was going to be a pretty interesting scenario. So do we need to get the spotter out here? Adam, D. Mason and I can finish.
I'm okay. Yeah. I'm okay.
Yeah,
but hey,
good.
the guy's independent. If he sees that you're wobbly or woozy or anything and you're off, he's coming in.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Tap him.
Matthew from Jolton, who I believe is a diehard Michigan fan, says, thank God Moore is gone. Wes from Hermitage says, there's not a better head coach or school that this could happen to. A bunch of cheaters at Michigan. It is what it is, and you get what you get.
Okay, so who's the next coach at Michigan?
They don't know.
Biff Poggi.
He's their interim?
He's coaching the bowl game.
The bowl game. Yeah.
But who's the next Michigan coach?
I don't care.
Not Harbaugh. He can't go back.
Harbaugh can't go back.
Brian Kelly?
Brian Kelly.
Yes.
Ah.
Please get Brian Kelly. Please. Please go get Brian Kelly. Please do it. Please.
But, I mean, that's not a job that people are going to say, oh, yeah, Michigan's open. I'm good. Like, I think people are going to say, "Oh, Michigan's open."
They're gonna take it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a premier job. Okay,
It's
I
a premier
will
job.
say that. That's it.
That's the
as
nicest
nice
thing you're
as
going
I
to
can
hear
be,
about
yes.
Michigan from Derek
Yes.
Mason. But speaking of coaching vacancies, the Tennessee Titans will have one soon because we know Mike McCoy isn't going to be the next full-time head coach. The Titans are at the 49ers on Sunday. Niners favored by 12.5, by the way, at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. And I'm wondering, guys, if the Titans' next head coach could be on the 49ers sideline. I am talking about 49ers defensive coordinator and former New York Jets head coach, Robert Saleh. Nick Suss of the Tennessean recently wrote an article ranking the most attractive head coaching candidates for the Tennessee Titans. And guess who he had at number 1? Robert Saleh. Nick Suss wrote, quote, "He's the easy and obvious number 1 pick here, even if his New York Jets tenure didn't work out. Remember, he coached the Jets to 7-10 records with quarterbacks like Zach Wilson, Mike White, Joe Flacco, Trevor Siemian, and here's a blast from the recent past, Tim Boyle."
Oh,
And look at the wizardry he and Kyle Shanahan are pulling off this season without defensive leaders Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, as well as first-round pick Michael Williams. Good coach, good leader, good candidate.
people, when they talk about Robert Saleh, speak super highly of him, especially from the San Francisco camp. Like, he is held in the highest regard. So I think that's a really intriguing name, especially because he's not the first, and he certainly won't be the last guy that just didn't get it done with the Jets. The Jets are fraught with a lot of things that seem to make it hard to win there. And you named the number one thing. He never had the quarterback. So I would look like he would jump above Kevin Stefanski, right?
Stefanski's off my list. We talked about
Yeah.
this
Yes.
last week. After those
He's
2-point
just the last-
conversions,
I bring that up because he's the last guy you brought into
Yes.
this discussion, right?
Stefanski, hard pass.
Okay. What about D-Base? What do you think?
I'm not a Stefanski
After
guy.
what I saw on
Right.
Sunday.
But what about Saleh?
It's interesting because really good defensive coordinator. I don't know how the San Francisco defense is this year, but historically
pretty
he's
good.
been a pretty good defensive coordinator. And his Jets defense were pretty good.
They had a couple of very good defenses.
But I want to know, like, what happened. Like, it wasn't just the Jets, like you said, Willie. Every coach that goes there seems to have to whatever with the Jets. Something goes on and ends up not working. Was it more so of the Jets? Because you've never finished better than 7-10. You were 4-13 when you first got there, and you end up, 2-3. They end up firing you after the 24th season. Well, during the 24th season. So how much of it was the organization, or how much of it was the head coach? Did the coach lose the locker room? And that's in that scenario. I'm not saying he wouldn't be a bad choice. Again, like Stefanski, I want to know what happened. Like, why did that team that seemed to have so much promise on defense, I know, but they had some guys on offense that y'all were not able to mesh? Because you have some coaches that are really good coaches that find a way, even with the sort of quarterback carousel, to put their team in a position to make a playoffs. And I'm not saying that it was something wrong. Is something wrong with him as a coach because he didn't do that? But I just want to know the circumstances within that whole Jets tenure.
So Robert Saleh had a record of 20-36 as Jets coach, a 357 winning percentage that ranks as the worst in Jets franchise history among coaches with a minimum of 40 games coached. But again, let me read to you the quarterbacks who started games for the New York Jets under Robert Saleh. Zach Wilson, 33 games. Mike White, 7 games. Aaron Rodgers, 6 games. Joe Flacco, 5 games. Trevor Siemian, 3 games. Tim Boyle, 2 games. Those two last guys, Siemian and Boyle, are Titans practice squad level quarterbacks because they were on the Titans practice squad.
Let's be honest. I mean, that's the full list, right?
That's the entire list. Those are the starting quarterbacks for the Jets under Robert Saleh.
So yeah, Zach Wilson, who just didn't get it done. And then Aaron Rodgers that couldn't stay healthy. And that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then they were going to plan C, D, E, F at that point.
But he's always going to be, I think, a good defensive-minded coach because he was a part of that 49er run from 17 to 20 where they were just dominant, defense, and they were doing a lot of other things offensively. And then he was able to maintain that level of dominance for at least 2 years with the Jets as far as their defense. Now, those last 2 years or year and a half he was there, their defense did taper off. They had a bunch of names, but they wasn't playing well. And Sauce Gardner was one of the guys that were not playing well. Now, he could have been injured, dealing with some injuries, but a lot of those guys that they relied on the previous year that they had one of the best defenses in the National Football League ended up being guys that you couldn't count on the next following year. And they, it seemed like things sort of checked out for a lot of those guys. So I wonder, was that because of the head coach? They just sort of checked out from the head coach, or was it because of the circumstances they were in as far as just organization, period?
So Robert Saleh recently did an interview on Josina Anderson's podcast, and she asked him what he would do differently if and when he becomes a head coach again. Here's what he had to say.
Anything you would do differently again as a head coach?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I do differently.
Top 10.
My top, one of the biggest things I do is I'm going to call. I'd like to call it. I feel like when you're immersed in the game as a play caller, I think it brings out the emotion in me that gets me excited and keeps me connected to all the players and keeps me connected to the game a little bit more. So yeah, it'd definitely that'd be the number one thing I would change.
So that was Robert Saleh explaining what he would do differently if he gets another opportunity. He would call plays.
Did he mean, because he's not an
on
offensive,
defense.
On defense,
yes, because I was about to say he's not an offensive-minded guy, not to say he couldn't, do
I
whatever.
don't believe he
But
called plays for the Jets defensively as the head coach.
I think that's what he was implying.
Yeah,
there.
he,
That's
that
what
he
would do
wants to be
different.
more involved, and I can understand that. So what was it then? With the Jets, was it more so of the organization?
It's
period,
the Jets.
or was it
They got a cuckoo
your
bananas owner
coaching-
too.
Yeah, it could be, or your coaching style. I don't know. Again, he's not someone that I would shy away from or take him off the list. But like Stefanski, and I even said with Stefanski, I wouldn't take him off the list, but I would ask him about these, these things that went on with Cleveland as far as the quarterbacks, and how much of that was he a part of? And it's starting to seem like he may be a big part of that whole thing going on with Shador, and not in a positive way. So kind of feeling that now, I'm like, maybe not Stefanski, and I'm done. So now you can insert a guy like Robert Saleh. And again, what happened in those 3 years? That's what I want to know. And he gave the right answer. Listen, there are a lot of things that I would change. One would be I would be a play caller. Why? Because he said it. It keeps me involved in the game. And I think sometimes coaches have a hard time, especially ones that were coordinators and now they're head coaches. They have a hard time of not being that guy anymore.
Scott and Waverly on our text line says, I am a diehard 49ers fan my whole life, and I would love nothing more than to see Robert Saleh as the Titans head coach. Look at the defense he's built in San Fran this year. But what makes him special is he can win with the practice squad guys as long as they play hard. He's done it this year. He has no big name players on that defense, and they keep winning.
Is this team ready for a Robert Saleh type of mentality? Because his mentality is like
he skews more back toward the Vrabel side of things.
Yes,
absolutely.
And that was one thing. Remember when we first talked about the profile of the type of coach, I like that it matches what I was looking for, and that is a leader. I do think Robert Saleh has that presence of a leader. He's also been through a tough time. He's been on really good teams, but that experience with the Jets, I think would serve him well for the Titans, because he knows when he takes over that it's a project. You're not going to be handed the keys to a Mercedes, right? You're going to have to do some work under the hood, which I can't do.
But is this organization?
By the way, I couldn't change a spark plug to saved my life.
Are they ready
Can't
for
change my
that
own oil.
big personality?
Could fill up the tires with
So,
air.
That's important.
you can fill up the tire with air.
At least you can do that.
Well, some people can't even do that.
Richie from White House says the Titans want a head coach who can bring a similar culture as Mike Vrabel. If Robert Saleh couldn't handle the drama of Aaron Rodgers during the offseason and deal with the media, could he possibly lead this team with the expectations that they are expecting here? It's a completely different situation.
Totally different.
When the Jets brought in Aaron Rodgers, they were expecting to win. It's also New York, really New Jersey, but New York versus Nashville. Significantly different, and I would say lower expectations here than what he faced in New York. So I get the point, Richie. I think they're two totally different situations.
Yeah, they're two situations. Comparing, this market to New York. And listen, we have some great, journalists, reporters, people that cover teams here in Nashville. But everybody, they would probably even tell you, TD back there, but nothing's like New York, man. It's like New York ain't gonna let you hide. They're just not. So it's just a different
And
beast
they
and
really
animal.
don't care about the
Exactly.
circumstances.
They don't
right?
care.
They're not like, well,
yeah,
you have Zach Wilson quarterback.
They don't care.
Nope.
You
Aaron
win.
Rodgers got hurt on the first play. No big deal. You still got
You need
to
to win. Yeah.
One texter says, Robert says, more like handing him the keys to a Pinto. 615-737.
Hey, if that Pinto got some good tires, we can roll for a while.
What was the name? What was the name of your coach who made you drive without the headlights on?
Oh, Coach Lynch. Coach Robert Lynch.
And what kind of car was that?
What was that? It was oh my goodness. Was it an Oldsmobile or DeVille? It was a DeVille, I think. Man, it was a big car though.
Okay.
But we ain't had no headlights. And we had to ride behind a 18-wheeler.
Sounds like the Tennessee Titans right now. 615-737-1025. All right. I've got a pair of tickets to see Belmont women's basketball to give away. You can watch the Bruins take on the Kentucky Wildcats at the Curb Event Center on Sunday if you are caller number 3 at 615-737-1025. Caller number 3 will win a pair of tickets to see Belmont women's basketball take on Kentucky at the Curb Event Center on Sunday. 615-737-1025. We'll lead on Nick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
See, in New York, there are more.
All right, time for the word from Loan Pronto. This is a great financial move you can make at this time of the year, looking ahead to 2026, lowering your mortgage rate to 4.99% fixed APR. So if your mortgage is higher than that, stop what you're doing and call Loan Pronto right now because it's the lowest rate in years. And if you need money out of your home's equity, that's available to you as well. So a couple of reasons to call Loan Pronto. Here's the phone number, 615-499-5780, or call. Well, I just told you to call 615-499-5780 or go online at loanpronto.com. That's loanpronto.com. Start the new year by wiping out high-interest debt, lowering your bills by thousands of dollars per month, and you can skip the next couple of house payments as well. 615-499-5780, loanpronto.com. See how much cash that you're eligible for and get that rate lower. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
D-Mace, Fingan, and Donick 1025. The game, we are presented by Bax Homeworks. Financing options are available to make your remodel easier than you think with Bax Homeworks. Get a free estimate now with baxhomeworks.com. We are talking 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, who I imagine will be a hot head coaching candidate this cycle. Could the Titans be interested in Robert Saleh? We'll take your thoughts. 615-737-1025. One texter says, I'm down for Saleh. Mike McDonald on Seattle is calling defensive plays there, and they're doing great. Terrell says, I would like Robert Saleh as head coach and Brian Dable as offensive coordinator. Can that work? It's a good question.
Yeah, very good one.
I've seen a lot of people manifesting a Robert Saleh, Mike McDaniel pairing, depending on what the Dolphins do with Mike McDaniel. If Robert Saleh is the head coach who also calls the defensive plays and Mike McDaniel is the offensive coordinator, I've seen a few people wishing that into existence on Titans Twitter. So who knows? But I think Robert Saleh is an interesting choice. Again, he's got the stink of the Jets on him. I told you the record, 20-36 as Jets head coach. I also told you the quarterbacks. Guys, go back to the preseason. Remember how bad Tim Boyle was in the preseason? Imagine him starting regular season games for you because Robert Saleh had to do that for a couple of games with the New York Jets. So just keep that in mind. Let's go to Luke on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunting.com. Luke, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Thanks, gentlemen. I like the Saleh hiring. I think the key is who's he going to bring with him as an offensive coordinator, and I think that will have to be the key in that meeting. I also think that if you coach the Browns or the Jets, those are mulligans. Those don't count. Those don't exist, right? But I do have another name. If that doesn't work out, I actually have two names. One is Anthony Weaver. I'm a Miami Dolphins guy. And that guy reminds me so much of DeMeco Ryans. And he's also got a passing game coordinator there, Bobby Slowick, who might be an option there. But there's also another guy that I like out in Seattle who's putting up points with Darnold, who Titans could have had, but Clint Kubiak. I think he might not be a bad choice if you want to give Cam somebody to work with.
Thank you for the call, Luke. Bobby Slowick stood out to me just because, remember, he was the Texans offensive coordinator. He was the hot name. And then he ended up getting fired shortly thereafter by the Texans. So it is interesting how Brian Callahan was the same way. Brian Callahan was a hot name on the circuit. We saw how it worked out with Brian Callahan. But I remember Bobby Slowick getting a lot of attention when the Texans started playing well. But he didn't last very long in that position, and now he's working, did he say in Miami?
That was Weaver, and I played with Weaver in Baltimore. He was a good player there. He seemed to be an excellent coach.
Slowick is the passing game coordinator for the Dolphins.
Oh, okay. So Weaver, Weaver's there too, right?
Weaver is the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, there. So hey, listen, they're going to have their, pick of individuals that they want to bring in for interviews. Now, whether those individuals take the job or not, that's up to them. But I think they will have their pick, and I think because they chose to, go away from Brian so early, I'm hoping that they've, really stored and I know it's kind of hard because of the season, and you want to, concentrate on the season, but you still got to look for a head coach next year for next season. So hopefully these names are already in the hat and in their sight, sort of going through all of them.
So Dan Graziano over at ESPN.com wrote this earlier, which I thought was interesting. Quote, people see what Mike Vrabel has been able to do in New England this season and what Jim Harbaugh has been able to do with the Chargers in his first two years there, And teams want to make sure they're bringing in someone they know can run a program, not someone who has just been really good at the smaller job who they think can run a program. I think that gives guys like Vance Joseph, Arthur Smith, Matt Nagy, etc., a chance. even if they weren't successful in their first stints as head coaches, they've done the job and probably learned from whatever mistakes they might have made the first time. And Saleh would fall into that category too.
Isn't it something how this trends the way it does? Because for a while, the trend was like, you got to get that bright offensive mind. You got your quarterback, you get the bright offensive mind. And then you're not going to lose him, right? Because you have the right offensive mind as your coordinator, he's going to get a head job and you're going to lose your offense. Now the trend seems to be more like who's going to run the program, the more traditional thing. It's still hard to find the right guy. Saleh still stands out to me. About all these names that were thrown out there, I do think Saleh might be the most sought after of all of them. He's going to be interviewing for a lot of places, I think.
Brett on our text line says, if you're Saleh, why would you step into another uncertain quarterback situation? Of course, most opportunities don't have a clear quarterback. But if I am Saleh, I am waiting for the best possible quarterback situations. Okay, so at the moment, there are only two teams that we know are looking for coaches, the Tennessee Titans and the New York Giants. And we know the quarterback situations there. Cam Ward, Jackson Dart. Let's look at some of the other teams who could make coaching changes. The Las Vegas Raiders, what's their quarterback situation? The Atlanta Falcons, what's their quarterback situation? The Arizona Cardinals, what's their quarterback situation? The Miami Dolphins, what's their quarterback situation? Maybe the only potential opening where you're not necessarily worried about that is if the Cincinnati Bengals fire Zach Taylor, because you have Joe Burrow. But Joe Burrow, for as great as he is, does get hurt a lot. But none of the potential openings, as the texter acknowledged, they're all uncertain quarterback situations because that's what gets coaches fired in the first place.
Right.
So like if you're Robert Saleh, let's just do this for a second. If you're Robert Saleh and you look at the Titans, Cam Ward, we're just talking about quarterbacks right now. Titans, Cam Ward. Giants, Jackson Dart. Raiders, I guess Geno Smith. I don't know what his contract situation is. Atlanta.
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. Atlanta, Michael Penix. Arizona, who knows what's going to happen with Kyler Murray. Miami, Tua's always got issues.
Sure.
So it's
like, I think Saleh, it would really surprise me if he goes to the Giants or if the Giants really go after him. I don't know. There's a Giants-Jets thing going on there. I don't know. But if I'm the Titans, what are you selling? You're selling new stadium. You're selling got the quarterback, we think, and we're going to build this thing. It's not the most attractive thing, but I think you could make it competitive depending on what jobs come open. The Dolphins one intrigues me because as troubled as Tua is and as bad as they've been this year, you still look at it and say, could you make something of that? Because when they have everybody, it looked pretty good.
I think if you look at these teams and potential coaches and how they're going to look at them, is the Giants a good job? Giants have some good players. They got their best player coming back, the receiver. You look at their offense. They got a good offense. They got neighbors.
You have a young quarterback who is concussion prone.
He's
because of how he likes to run the ball.
But your defense, you got some good players on defense. But just coaching in the New York market, it's going to be, man, they may not cut you no slack,
And he knows that.
Exactly.
He knows that.
So he's been in that market
Does
before.
he want to live that again?
Do you want to go through it again?
It's going to be a lot of the same reporters that you were dealing with the Jets.
Absolutely. So then you start to look at other places. The Vegas Raiders. Do you want to be there? Look at their talent.
That team is yuck.
Yeah.
Yuck.
And then you look at the Titans. And I know there are other teams on that potentially can be on that list. But if you start looking at the Titans, then listen, I'm not going to sit here and say they got a bunch in the cupboard because they don't. They have some, they have some things in there you can use, some things in there that you got to let grow. It's out in the garden somewhere. You got to let it grow for a while. And hopefully you can, sort of do the things necessary to hope that player develops the way you want him to. But to say that they have a lot in the cupboard, say more than the Giants or somebody, they don't. But I think that if you're going to allow Borgonzi to do his job and be the GM, I think that's one plus for me if I'm a head coach. And then two, I think Cam Ward, because continue to watch him, you see there's some development in there. There's some things
I
that
don't
he's
know.
doing.
See, that's an interesting question. Is if you're Saleh or whoever you deem to be the 2 or 3 top guys, how do they view the Titans? How do they view Cam Ward? I think that's an important question.
Yes, it's always going to be the question,
Because-
because you don't want to go into a team where they just don't have a quarterback at all, and it's going to make it. And that's what he went into with the Jets.
Right, but you know Cam Ward is your quarterback when you take that job. What do you think of Cam Ward? I think some sought-after coaches might say, not sure. I want to hitch my wagon to that if there's another option.
But again, coaches have
no
egos.
guarantees.
Yeah, coaches have egos. And I just look at this situation as, is it the greatest situation? No, and everybody understands that. That's why they're looking for another head coach. But I think if they allow, and that's the big question mark, if they allow patience, you have a slate to work with that is pretty clean. And the quarterback, I believe, is there. Again, will he be an elite quarterback? I don't know. But I think he is. I think there is franchise quarterback in him. Now, what does that end
and a
up?
lot of coaches might see
Exactly.
that. Say, I can
So
make that work.
You have what is to believe a franchise quarterback. You have some guys that you can, they can be sort of like that second tier of guy, but you need some flat out guys that can go get it. Like Trey said yesterday, we need one of those guys that can catch the ball. One of those catch the ball guys.
Yes.
We need one of those catch the ball guys, a top line guy. So the palette is sort of clean here, but I know there's a question mark with the quarterback. I get that.
And the other thing, too, is before we wrap this up, Saleh, as we've acknowledged, is a defensive-oriented coach. So as he looks at Cam Ward, he also has to wonder, okay, who am I hiring to be my offensive coordinator in this situation? And what does that guy think about Cam Ward? I think that probably has to factor into it as well. 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on Robert Saleh as a Titans head coaching candidate. He will be on the 49ers sideline as defensive coordinator on Sunday when the Titans visit the 49ers. Niners, by the way, favored, by 12.5. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, a lot of you hate Notre Dame. That's well established. But it feels like Notre Dame is making people hate it even more, which I wasn't sure was possible. We'll discuss that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service.
I will say this, and I'm a little outspoken about it. I don't like how Notre Dame's reacted to it.
So
Okay,
Pete
I think Pete's his behavior has been egregious. It's been egregious going after Jim Phillips when they saved Notre Dame during COVID. We all knew, and it was very transparent. Hunter was very transparent about it, the chair, that as Notre Dame and Miami got closer together, head-to-head would be a factor. Okay, BYU lost. They came closer together, head-to-head, and made a difference in that decision. So I think he is totally out of bounds in his approach, and if he was in the room, I'd tell him the same thing.
That was Big 12 Commissioner
Dramatic
Brett.
pause. Let that settle.
That was Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark taking issue with Notre Dame Athletic Director Pete Bavacqua. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. And Bavacqua has been on a bit of a rampage since Notre Dame was excluded from the college football playoff. You may recall he accused the ACC of engaging in a targeted social media campaign against the Irish. He said that the ACC did permanent damage to its relationship with Notre Dame because of it. And also, this just crossed my timeline. Apparently, this is from Yahoo Sports. Notre Dame's omission from the college football playoff even briefly led to the cancellation of a book event at the school's bookstore. According to Matt Fortuna, the Notre Dame bookstore canceled a Friday event with CFP committee member Ivan Maisel for his book about longtime Notre Dame coach Frank Leahy titled American Coach.
Now that's petty.
Now
that's petty.
Now it's apparently back on. But Notre Dame, it's back on now. But they did take the step of canceling the book signing, apparently because the author of a book about a Notre Dame coach was on the CFP committee.
Notre Dame, you said it correctly, Willie, yesterday. This was emotion. We're not going to the game. We're not doing it. We no. If y'all don't, we're taking our golden ball and we're going home. And then after 24 hours later, it was like, ooh, should we have to? But they got to stick with it now.
Right.
You got to stick with it now. Like, damn, should we have done that? Okay.
And the AD doubled down.
Exactly.
Tripled down.
He doubled down. It's like, man, listen, Notre Dame, I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again. This is a big PR problem. I don't know what adult over there, well, I guess all of them, thought that this would be the best thing to do for college football is to, because you, one, are not part of a conference, didn't have to win a conference game, lost the head-to-head to the team that ultimately got in, and you just said, you know what, forget it. We're going home, and whatever bowl game y'all got us set to go to, we don't even want to go. Take it somewhere else. We don't even need y'all no more. We're just going to go to class and be Notre Dame. We get prepared for next season. I didn't think that they would believe that it would have an impact on them. Now it's having, and there's nothing they can do about it now.
Notre Dame,
nothing.
This was my point earlier. Notre Dame, you don't have to really try that hard to get people to hate Notre Dame football.
Notre Dame is like Duke.
It's like,
and
Duke.
I hate to say that.
It's like the Yankees.
I get it.
It's like the Yankees.
I get it.
The Cowboys. There's very little in between. Either you're in or you're out.
Right. It doesn't take a lot to get people to find a reason to despise Notre Dame. But the actions of its athletic director over the past few days, I mean, I never thought I'd see the day that you needed more reason to hate Notre Dame. But Pete Bavacqua and all of the things he said, the fact that the bookstore apparently, briefly, canceled a book signing because the author was a member of the CFP committee. Come on. I actually do have to give Notre Dame credit for making it easier to dislike them.
That has always been something, especially in this area of the country, it seems like, because they have a national following. But I think it maybe used to be even more pronounced. But I've always been fascinated about how polarizing Notre Dame football is on sports talk radio. I've been doing this for a long time, and that has always been the case. Do you guys think if Bavacqua did a 180 today, or maybe don't even send Bavacqua out there, send Freeman out there, send the coach?
I like the way you said Bavacqua yesterday. You were like, Bavacqua!
That's an old Tommy Lasorda. I don't know if that's any relation. There was a long time baseball player named Kurt Bavacqua.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a sort of an animated player, and he got the ire of Tommy Lasorda one time. And Lasorda went on a tirade back in the day when there's all kinds of great Tommy Lasorda. Just ask Pete Weber. He'll give you the full file of all these great things. You'll be laughing hysterically. But he was getting after Bavacqua one time. He didn't call him Kurt Bavacqua. He was like, Bavacqua. Hitters like Bavacqua.
Bavacqua sounds like a character on Seinfeld that Jerry doesn't like.
Yes, exactly.
Ugh, Bavacqua.
So let's take Bavacqua and put him on the side. Run Freeman out there, who is very classy normally. I'm sure he was bitter as well. I don't know what he said on the right. And what if he says, we made a mistake? I've rethought it. I've talked to the people. We would like to play. What would happen? Like the TV people, some people might watch him. Will we let him in?
The TV people would cave. The TV people would absolutely cave.
Like, I don't know who's taking their spot in the bowl game. That's been determined, right? They'd have to kick somebody out or slide people around.
Yes.
Yeah, I think once they said we wasn't there, they ain't getting back in. But you, again,
it'd be pretty amazing.
It didn't take a lot.
Enjoy the Snoop Dogg Bowl, Notre Dame.
Exactly. It didn't take a lot to hate Notre Dame. But don't do it to yourself. It's like you just basically did this to yourself. And it was an emotional decision. And maybe, just maybe, you're regretting it now because you're getting a lot of backlash from it. And I don't know how you, if I'm a Notre Dame alum I don't know how you defend this. I really, other than saying, well, even if you say they didn't let us, they were unfair. Well, they were unfair to a couple of teams, probably. Yeah. Vanderbilt was a team that we felt was the committee was unfair. Hell, Vandy thought they were unfair, but what did Vandy do? We're still playing in our bowl game.
Texas had the whole argument that they thought if we played Ohio U instead of Ohio State, we'd be in. They had a beef.
But they still playing in their games.
Yeah. Wes on our text line says, thanks, guys. Now I'm craving baklava. Just great. Matthew says, I never liked Notre Dame, but I respected them. Now the respect is gone. Josh says, they did get left out for a crap Bama team that got blown out of the first and last games of the season. They are a blue blood too.
You know what? We have not really talked about Alabama getting in as much.
Yeah, the Crimson Tide have gone off scot-free.
So much on Miami and Notre Dame.
Yes.
The more people I talk to, they're more mad about Alabama getting in there than the other, because of the third loss and how they kind of didn't play very well down the stretch and completely got whipped in that last game. They especially leaned on the, hey, don't penalize us. We made the championship.
But BYU, which Brett Yormark, the Big 12 commissioner, who you heard in that clip, acknowledged, BYU got blown out in its conference championship game and didn't make the playoff. But Alabama, who did not get blown out by as much, but they did get blown out. I think it was 34-7 for BYU, 28-7 for Alabama. The final scores.
Here's my brand bias. I'm not bitter. Yes, I am. Question of the day. If Vanderbilt had Alabama's record, got to the SEC championship game and lost their third loss, are they in?
No.
Heck no.
Well, we know that.
They are in because they're Bama, right?
Of course, yes.
The committee did say, though, it's because they beat Georgia in the regular season but lost to them in the conference. That's
a good win. That is a good win.
It was a great win, and it was at Georgia, which is very significant. Yeah.
Yes. But Alabama did not get the benefit of the doubt last year, however. SMU got in instead.
And I can see it. I'm not a 3 losses automatic, you're out. They did get the win at Georgia. They also had a bad loss
to Florida State.
That was a bad loss.
Yes, it was.
As it turned out.
Craig, a Notre Dame fan, says, I have no problem with Miami getting in ahead of us. I have a problem with the process. Every show we were ranked ahead of Miami, and then they flip-flop us at the end. Also, how are you going to sit there and say BYU lost and that drew Alabama closer to Notre Dame, but Alabama got its butt kicked while running for -3 yards in their championship game, but doesn't get penalized? It's not going to have a PR impact. People already hate us. They can hate us more. We are okay with that.
I didn't say Alabama deserved to be in. I would have rather had.
I think the week before when you were the judge.
Yeah.
You did mention if Alabama lost the third game, you would have to take a look at that.
Yeah, I did. I took a look at it, and everybody else did too. And what did they do? They let Alabama in.
Bavacqua.
But
I think we all agree that the process
It's
is
flawed, yes.
in a lot of ways, but I think everybody agrees that it would be better if they didn't do the weekly show leading up.
Yes.
But you have a lot of money involved. Will ESPN do the right thing? They're the ones always, Nick Saban's great at poking holes in the process. He has been awesome. What if he goes public? Like, would ESPN let him say, hey, we shouldn't do the show for the 4 weeks? That would be great TV. I would love to see that. Or would ESPN say, Nick, we love you and everything, but you can't say that.
You got an
You can't say that.
You can't.
But
that's not something.
Don't we agree? The problem that they have is they back themselves into corners each week going, well, this is what we did 2 weeks ago. We told you that blah, blah, blah. And now 2 weeks later, like, oh, man, I can't believe we said that 2 weeks ago. We got to change this around. It just leads to all kinds of complications that you wouldn't have if you just ranked them one time at the end.
Well, Notre Dame, just get in a damn conference like the other sports within your
Notre Dame,
school.
Notre Dame,
basketball, all these other sports within your university, they're in a conference.
Notre Dame, I believe, has 24 sports in the ACC. I believe the only sports that aren't are football and men's hockey. I believe those are the only sports.
Football, really. So
football and ice hockey
it's
are the
like,
only ones that they are in ACC.
When there's something like this, you had your opportunity. You didn't want to get it in because you didn't want to share the money. That's all. You didn't want to share the revenue. And okay, well, you can't. What do you expect when an ACC team is sitting there? And what am I supposed to do as an ACC commissioner? Fight for you? No, I'm not going to badmouth you, but I'm fighting for my ACC team because we need a team in there so we can get the money too. You already getting your money. We need to get ours.
I mean, the ACC network did replay Miami's win against Notre Dame 13 times. But I am not above a little pettiness. But even for me, canceling a book signing, albeit briefly, but canceling a book signing for a book on one of your coaches because the author of the book was on the CFP committee is a new level of pettiness that I even can't get behind. 615-737-1025. Actually, one texter says, I think we can all agree Bavakwa has a punchable name. Agreed. 615-737-1025. Let's bring in Jonathan Hutton from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow. We'll ask him about all of this as well. I'm curious for Hutton's thoughts on what happened in the college football playoff bracket reveal. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 1025. The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. Silly Underdog Picks coming up in the next segment. I will give you the cue to call to represent the people. If you do and win, you will win a pair of tickets to see Trevor Noah at the Ryman Auditorium on February 10th. So be listening for the cue to call. But in the meantime, let's bring in our friend Jonathan Hutton from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow. He is brought to you by a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa in Cool Springs. Hello, Hutton. How are you?
I am doing great. How are you guys?
We are doing well, thank you. So we were just talking about Notre Dame, and more specifically, its athletic director, Pete Bavacqua.
Yes.
Willie, give us a good Bavacqua.
Bavacqua.
Yes.
Bavacqua.
He has been on a media rampage since the Fighting Irish were left out of the College Football Playoff Committee. We even mentioned that Notre Dame briefly canceled a book signing for an author who was on the College Football Playoff Committee. It has since been restored, but they did resort to that level of pettiness, even if it was just for a little bit. So what do you make of how Notre Dame has reacted publicly to everything that's been going on?
Well, the whole thing is petty. It's it's not very AD like for Notre Dame, let's put it that way, or for any of them for that matter. Of course the ACC campaigned for the conference. Don't treat us like we're all stupid here. Of course they did. They would have campaigned not just for Miami. I bet they campaigned for their ACC champ, Duke. They didn't get that, and the ACC saw Virginia lose. That allowed Miami to get in. Had Virginia won, James Madison wouldn't be in, and Notre Dame's probably in the playoff. So that's what happened here. Here's also what's going on behind the scenes to me. Pete Bavacqua, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he a huge he was like VP or president of something with NBC Universal?
I believe that is correct.
So he knows the backstory with ESPN and Disney, and this is a ESPN driven playoff.
He was the chairman and president of NBC Sports from 2018 to 2023.
There you go. So let's just say there's a history here, and ESPN loves to have Notre Dame. They have the ACC rights. They get Notre Dame on their network whenever Notre Dame plays on the road in the ACC. That's part of their agreement. And they get Notre Dame on their network for any bowl across America. So they feel slighted here. They're 10-2. I don't mind them calling out this process. I don't agree with the argument. Like the ACC can't campaign for their teams. Correct me if I'm wrong. Would Notre Dame claim the ACC as a national champion if they won the championship? No. They're an eye test team, and I don't like the process as much as anybody else that doesn't like it. But don't act like the conferences is supposed to campaign for money and payouts. They'd be guaranteed $8 million, and for every win, you get $4 million more. Meanwhile, Notre Dame gets in. They're not splitting the money with the ACC. They keep it all. There's a lot that goes into it. A lot of it has to do with ESPN and Bavacqua's background with them.
Hutton, the Heisman Trophy presentation is on Saturday. We know Diego Pavia is a finalist alongside Fernando Mendoza, Julian Sayin, and Jeremiah Love. It really does feel like a two-person race between Pavia and Mendoza. I haven't checked the betting odds today, but Mendoza has been, I would say, an overwhelming favorite in the betting markets, depending on which sports book you look at. How close do you think this vote ultimately will be?
It's going to be extremely close because Pavia is winning all the other awards right now. I'm saying like the media awards, the recognition from the media, which would be the voters. He's the CBS Player of the Year. He's on threes Player of the Year. We could go down through all this. Quarterbacks have won the Heisman Trophy in 12 of the past 15 seasons. And this is the way it was going to go. Fernando Mendoza's had an outstanding year. Indiana's had an outstanding year. I think maybe you guys agree, maybe disagree. This is right now, to me, the perception of the player and the program and the coach. And we've got an SEC Coach of the Year in Clark Lee. But when you think of Vanderbilt right now, you think about Diego Pavia. And you think about Kirk Cignetti when you think about Indiana. So I think that's something to consider just based on the popularity contest, if you want to call it that. But I don't even have to go there to make the case that Diego Pavia should be the Heisman Trophy winner. The defenses that Vanderbilt faced, while the teams weren't all that great in Auburn and LSU, their defenses were. And we discussed who should be in there. This is a significant award, life-changing. The winner is introduced forever as the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback for the rest of their life. I mean, it's a big deal. We know that it's a big deal for Vanderbilt to get this stage. The same thing for Indiana. Mendoza will become the first player in Indiana to win it. But Pavia, to me, would be my vote. And he's the most valuable player to any team in the country. He's dominant in the air, through the ground, over 4,000 total yards. 71% of their offensive production is through him. That's while they face 71% of their production of the number one Power 4 teams in total offense. That's Vanderbilt. 36 touchdowns. This is extremely close, Adam. And I think it comes down to region, and it comes down to who's voted number 2 or number 3. How many ballots will have Saleh at number 2 and have Pavia at 3 or have Mendoza at 3? I don't think Mendoza ever gets a third place vote, though.
I like the optimism.
Well, last I checked, Hutton, Sayan's odds of winning the Heisman Trophy were plus 70,000. So I'm not sure.
70,000?
Plus
70,000.
No, 4 zeros. 4 zeros plus 70,000.
Yeah.
A couple days ago.
Well, Vegas is saying one thing.
All the polls, no, they're not polling 870 some odd people here. I don't even know how to become a Heisman voter, Willie, guys. So if you do, let me know.
Well, one fan does get a vote, we learned. One fan.
One fan?
You could be that fan.
It could be you.
Yeah. You never know.
Yes. But I don't know if you guys can see me. I've got the Heisman hat from Pavia on right now. Let's load up and win this thing. I mean, he's very deserving. And so is Mendoza. He's fantastic. So slide at him. But whenever On Three or whoever's doing these straw polls, Pavia's a little bit ahead of Mendoza in these things. Now again, they're calling up some Heisman friends of theirs that are voters and seeing how they're going to vote without mentioning their name. But there's no reason to lie about it if they're voting one way or the other. And I think it's going to be extremely close.
I think as it is every year, there is, especially when it's close like this, Hut, there is a Heisman Trophy moment. And let me know if you agree with it. I think it's unfortunate that Diego didn't have another game to play.
No doubt.
Because had he been able to do that, what he did against Tennessee after or during the Big Ten championship that weekend, then I think there would have been a different view on Diego. But because his performance, it was a great performance, but it was a week prior, Mendoza comes in, and Mendoza doesn't play a bad game, and it's not great, but he makes a Heisman moment. Do you think they look more at that and him being the number one, them being the number one team and them beating the number one team in Ohio State?
Yes. So yes, they do. And the recency bias there. It does matter playing on that weekend versus not. I could argue his Heisman moment was his post-game interview.
Yeah, we did talk about
the top.
it. Yeah,
we have talked about it. Yes.
Meanwhile, Clark Lee's not even asked about the college football playoff whenever they win at Tennessee. It's bizarre. And then let me also say, Fox did an incredible job of only mentioning 2 of the 3 quarterbacks for the Heisman finalist. They were mentioning the Heisman comes down to these 2 on the field. That's because of their television contracts, right? They're pumping up their guys. They've got the game. But Pavia is not going to be forgotten about here. He has done a tremendous job. I think what's been underrated, he's the only quarterback of these guys, or really anybody, that's on social media so much, that's doing the media, that's trending on YouTube and on wherever you want to find him. He's an algorithm. So he's been on top of mind because he's on your phone all the time. And some of these voters tend to go with groupthink and they vote the way their buddies do.
Now, Michigan has fired their coach, and listen, I'm not singing some swan song for them or pity for them. I have none whatsoever. I don't want to get into why they fired him. That's not the issue here. But where does this job now rank? I know the interim is going to be the defensive coordinator, I believe, somebody on that team. To coach the bowl. But how attractive and who do you think goes to the top of their list?
I mean, I was texting with Withrow about this right before we joined you about like who at the late process. They're really one of one now of the jobs, and that's a great job. They usually go with a Michigan man, right? Like that's what they say. I would say starting to look around. So it was Lance Leipold was in the running the last time that they hired Sherrone Moore. They did talk to Lance Leipold. He was mentioned for Michigan State, was he not?
I
don't
think
know, maybe he
so.
just stayed in Kansas for it. But I mean, he's one. I wouldn't. Kalen DeBoer has been mentioned for Penn State. I don't know if if Michigan wants to pick up the phone and ask him about Bama for a college football playoff team. But again, this is the time of year where you get the portal. Things are not ideal for them, and they have the associate head coach Biff Poggi, who was a member of Harbaugh's staff prior to getting the job at Charlotte, the head coaching job. And now he's back there. So they're not unfamiliar. He's not unfamiliar to them. So do you stabilize it there, or do you look outside? They'll do their due diligence, and they don't have to call anybody. People will call them.
Now, Hut, Tennessee, and we've talked about this season and was it a success, or how do fans look at this season based upon the expectations coming in? And you're going to get a wide range of opinions on that one. But the program in itself, because, and I know it's more so recency bias, but I do believe in what Vanderbilt's doing and how they're building their program. What is the thought on UT's program? Because there's just, at least from my standpoint, they're not going into the off season with the same buzz they had last year.
No.
It may be because they're not in the college football playoffs. I understand that.
Yeah.
But still, it's just something just not right about what's going on. And I'm not saying they're going to be a bad. I'm just saying there's just something. It just doesn't look or feel right. The way the season ended for UT.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this, because Willie, dive in on this too.
Okay.
The perception now. We've got a 5-star quarterback committed to Georgia who flipped and went to Vandy, and Tennessee was never mentioned. Now, I know they've got their own 5-star, but that also includes 2 running backs, 4 stars that are flipped. You've got another wide receiver who's at Bama who's flipped 3-star. I don't care about the stars. It's where they're committed. And, maybe the writing's on the wall with the portal coming in. But still, if this were 5-10 years ago and that were happening, this would have been a big story across the state. And I mean, maybe it is it's not in Knoxville. They've got the portal; they're crushing it there. But it's interesting that you have the 5-star quarterback in state that ends up flipping and going to Vandy with Clark Lee and what they're doing. The momentum's there, and you're right, Mace. I lean your direction here on momentum. They've got to figure out some things defensively, and they've done that with their defensive coordinator hire. So as you start to look around, it's you got the new defensive coordinator coming in paired with the offense, where you find out who's going to be playing quarterback next year, and maybe we get some semblance of that in the bowl game. I don't know. I'm going to be interested to see how many fans turn out to the Music City Bowl, because normally you just sell that sucker out.
Yes. How many times have they played there, Hut?
Two times. Well, 3 times. They played against
North Carolina.
Nebraska,
The controversial
Purdue.
ending was the one.
Purdue, I think, right?
Purdue sounds right. So 3rd time or 4th time?
I think so. I believe so. But I mean, the Music City Bowl doesn't want. Tennessee wouldn't want to stay in Tennessee for the bowl game every other year. But there are some years where it fits, and this year it did, just based on the fact that Missouri had been here last year. Vanderbilt, it's not a reward to play down the street in a bowl game as a 10-win team. So I'm sure the SEC didn't want that to happen.
By the way, Hutton, it will be the Vols' 4th Music City Bowl appearance.
So they did play 3. So
they topped Nebraska 38-24 in 2016.
Great atmosphere.
They lost 30-27 in double overtime to Carolina in 2010. Okay.
There's something really weird happened at the end of that game. I don't remember exactly.
And lost 48-45 in overtime to Purdue in Heupel's first season in 2021.
Packed house there too. Purdue traveled well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and it's Illinois, so hey, the basketball crowd was outstanding for Illinois,
no doubt.
Illinois traveled. So let's see what they bring to the table.
Hut, if we use Robert Saleh as an example, looks like he's going to be a sought-after head coach. If you're a head coach and you feel like you might end up having choices and not just you got to take whatever team offers you a job, what would you think of Cam Ward if you're Robert Saleh?
I would be thinking more about my offensive coordinator hire. I'd be trusting him because that's the only way he gets this job, Willie. He's got to come in with a great offensive coordinator. Otherwise, why are you going defense at head coach?
Okay, so maybe Saleh is not the right guy.
Hey,
I guess I'm saying if you're a head coach, do you look at Cam Ward and say,
"Oh,
I'll hitch my wagon to him. I think I can win with him."
It's an incomplete at best. You're betting on yourself, right? Because you're betting on yourself, and you're betting on the fact that he has the traits that you can develop. But no, I can't come in here and say that right now. I can't sit and say he's going to be the guy. But it's also, weren't we asking the same thing about Mariota whenever Vrabel took the job?
Sure.
It's sold as he's coming in to fix Mariota and move forward or whatever, right? And then all of a sudden, here's Harp.
Okay, well let's go back to that time.
Yeah.
Don't you think Mariota had flashed some games
yes
higher level than Cam Ward has flashed at this point?
Yes, 100%. 100%. And again, like there have been moments, but few moments of flash for Cam Ward. I mean, he's frustrated after a win. And he should be. He didn't play well. We haven't seen that. There's nothing we're seeing Shedeur Sanders play well in 3 games, right? When I say I mean this in like regards to comparing the two, and that's unfair, but it's they're going to be linked together. We haven't seen we've seen a handful of those plays this year. It's viewed as a win for a 30-yard completion in the fourth quarter. I mean, the way they've won games, it hasn't been. If you told me they scored 31 points, I would have expected going in to watch the game that the player of the game was going to be the quarterback. And I mean, you got to go down a pretty large list from Sunday before you mentioned Cam Ward's name.
Jonathan Hutton has been our guest on D. Mace, Ving, and Adonik. He joins us every Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and he is brought to you by A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa in Cool Springs. Hutton, great stuff as always, my friend. We'll catch up next week.
Click, buy, print, amomentspeace.com. Thank you, guys. I'll be listening to Silly Underdog Picks. I don't know how you're doing it this week. I look forward to finding out.
Well, you can all find out coming up next, 615-737-1025, because it is time for Silly Underdog Picks Bowl Edition. And Willie Donick is the commissioner. He's got the rules. We'll lay it out for you coming up next. 615-737-1025. Now is not the time to call, by the way, for the People's Pick. I will let you know. So don't call right now because David James will hang up on your ass. Don't do it. 615-737-1025. Silly Underdog Picks coming up next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Ving, 1025 The Game. D-Mace, Fingan, and Donick 1025. The game? You hear that music, you know what time it is. It's time for Silly Underdog Picks, presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. It is bowl season, so we're going to have some interesting rules. Without any further ado, let's turn it over to the commissioner, Willie Donick.
Willie. Oh, Willie D. Willie
Ladies and
D.
gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another afternoon of Silly Underdog Picks, presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. The 31st year of competition. The regular season has ended, and that means it's bowl season. 3 games remaining in the season. So it is time to do very important math, people. If you are in the lead, it's like Final Jeopardy. How many points do I need? How many points can the other guys get? So you've got to keep this in mind when you make your picks. Joining us once again, our panel, Adam Vingan, Derek Mason, and on the lines, we've got Chris Sanders and hopefully Hal Gill.
We are efforting Hal Gill,
We're
but Chris is
efforting
here.
Hal Gill. I don't think it'll be quite as dramatic as last week to find Hal.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was on the beach. He was on the beach. And it was dark, too. But somehow Hal came off of the beach and made the pick at the final moment. But you had to be there to experience the drama of that. Let's first start by reviewing what happened last week. Well, after the fire to serenade us behind us, Adam Vingan is very excited about this announcement right here because he took the Hoosiers of Indiana, a 4.5 point dog against the Ohio State University, where Chris Sanders once galloped up and down the field for the Buckeyes. And Indiana, up at Lucas Oil Stadium, got the W, 13-10. Ohio State had the lead. A big stop by Indiana, and then the big clutch throw by Mr. Mendoza took him over the top, and then Ohio State missed about the easiest field goal inside that you'll ever see.
Kickers.
How did he miss it?
Kickers.
How did he miss it?
Why?
Anyway, so Adam Vingan picks up 4.5 points. He goes to 33 on the season, and he solidifies his hold on second place. Adam, your reaction?
If I may channel my inner Fernando Mendoza. This is the greatest thing ever. Thank you to Indiana. I'm so happy. Let's go. Let's go.
That is still the craziest interview I think I've ever heard. And because it was so out of nowhere, you just had no idea it was going to come out of his mouth.
Come out of his mouth.
Yeah,
sounding like that.
And it did. Yes.
That's hilarious.
Chris Sanders had the next pick, as usual, going deep. He took Troy, a 23.5 point dog in the Sun Belt Championship game against James Madison.
The Trojans made it interesting.
They did play well. They did play well. They were in it for a while.
Yeah.
But ultimately, and they covered. But as you know, unless you're a beginner to this contest, no points for a cover in Silly Underdog Picks. The underdog must win outright. 31-14, the final. Chris, did you watch?
Yeah, I did a little bit, but as long as you give it your all, that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
That's what losers say.
Exactly.
That's his message to the kids, Derek. And
that's what losers say.
You know, what does Derek like to say about those kids?
Yeah,
What does Derek say about those kids?
Get them damn kids, okay?
F them kids.
Shoot. Man, loser.
Oh, man. It's Christmas, D-Man.
It's not about wins and losses. It's how you play the game. Yeah.
Hey,
keep taking the high road, Chris. Keep taking the high road.
He is. I know. Hey, but Teron told me to tell you who you look like. He told me to do this. He said you look like Papa Smurf. That's what he told me. He told me to tell you that. He told me. He told me. That's what he said. Don't blame it on me.
Listen, Teron didn't say that. Teron, stop that lying. Stop that. Hey, Chris, stop that lying. Chris. Hey, Chris, stop that lying. Stop that lie.
Wow. That was a zinger. That was a zinger. And, you know,
I'm sorry.
It's tough when you're on top, D-Mace. That's what it is.
Hey, man, the wind blows harder
And
when you're on
why.
top, man.
Here's why, okay? You just took a shot right to the ribs. But your pick last week was South Dakota. You went into the FCS, dipped in there. A 6.5 point dog at Mercer, long trip. Not only did they win, They won 47-0.
Wow.
So teammates picks up 6.5 to add to his lead. He now goes to 45 points. Teammates, you had the good scattered. Who gave you the tip on South Dakota?
Hey, listen, y'all remember that Eagle back in the day, Willie?
That's right.
You remember the Eagle, right?
I feel like he got inebriated a few times.
Yeah, he did. But you remember. And now that I am so high right now, like in the sky, I'm on the top. That's why I'm wearing my scarf and my glasses because the wind's blowing so hard up here at the top.
And you're able to brush off the insults
insults like that. Papa Smurf, I'm able to brush them off, man. So, but this is where we fly now. We flying
high.
We flying high, people.
All right. That brings us to Hal Gill with his exciting animated pick last week from the beaches of South Florida. He took Rhode Island, where both of his daughters, Izzy and Soph, they play for the Rams on the lacrosse team. Rhode Island made the playoffs in the FCS. They were going way out west to UC Davis. So let's set the scene. We're on the plane coming back from Carolina, and we are keeping close tabs on the Rhode Island UC Davis game. So Hal, take it from there. What happened?
I don't know.
They got off to a good start.
Rhodey was rolling, the Rams were charging, and we went up in the air, and when we landed, it was all over. It became a massacre the other way. So
when we left Raleigh, it was promising. When we landed in Nashville, it was over. It was over.
It was 20-10 when we took off.
Yeah,
and we lost the beat on it, and I was trying to check, and I couldn't get a connection. When we landed, it was 44-20, and it was over.
Final score, 47-26.
Story of my first year in this league, or whatever we call this silly underdog picks.
Well, you're still in third place, Al.
Yes,
There's
not over with, Al.
There's three picks to go.
Not over with.
There's 3 picks to go. So let's quickly go over what we have. Here's what we have on the slate for this week. We're going to divide it up into 3 different sessions. We used to take a week off and then pick all the bowl games, pick 3 picks. We're going to go 1 this week. We're going to skip next week because we want to see what happens after the first round of the college football playoffs. And then right before Christmas, we'll make a pick with the next batch of games. And then right before New Year's, we'll have our last pick. So strategize for that. Here are the standings. Right now, in first place, D-Mace with 45 points. Adam in second with 33. He's moved up from the bottom, by the way. At one point, he was in last, and he was getting the barbs. Hal is in third with 25, and Chris Sanders.
Who's in last?
Chris Sanders.
Okay.
Chris Sanders, 21.5.
The Chris Sanders?
Yeah, absolutely. That guy?
Ohio State Buckeye, forever tight.
Tippy Toes? He's last?
So here's what we have. We have the Army-Navy game, should you choose to accept it. We have the LA Bowl, whatever that is, Boise State and Washington. We have the 4 FCS quarterfinal games Saturday. Then we have all the bowl games between December 16th and 22nd. And, of course, the first round of the college football playoff, which is coming up not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So, all told, there are 17 games to choose from in this pod, if you will.
So, all games through December 22nd.
That's basically what it
So,
we have.
keep
Between
that in
now and
mind
December
for the
22nd.
people's pick.
Yes.
The bowl game you choose, if you're the people's pick, has to be between now and December 22nd. So, keep that in mind if you're thinking of a pick.
Adam.
You're welcome, Chris.
All right. So, speaking of Chris, Tippy Toes Sanders, let's go to him. He's got the floor.
All right, here we go.
Lionel.
Oh, no. You're in last place once again.
That's cold, man. That's cold.
In last place. Go ahead, pick, Chris. Don't be scared.
I know, man. I'm mad right now because I got 21 points. But guess what? Somebody going to be mad when I make this pick. I'm going with Boise State over Washington. Let's go.
That was on my list.
Okay.
I will say that's one of the lower lines that Chris has ever taken in this. He usually goes big.
Are you sick, Chris? Something's wrong.
Yeah, that's the only way I can find
It is one of the bigger ones.
That is downright conservative for Chris Sanders.
It is kind of, but you got to go with what you got in front of you. So the Broncos of Boise State.
Oh, let's go.
They won their league, right? Mountain West. They won their title. They are a 9.5-point dog against Washington, who plays in the Big Ten.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know.
We were certain, Chris, that you were going to take JMU.
Yes,
we were certain of it.
How much was the line?
21.5.
Can I switch it?
Nope.
Dang.
Card laid.
Card played.
All right. So Chris Sanders has it down. He takes the Broncos. And that brings us to the leader in the clubhouse right now with 3 games to play. It's the Sparty himself, Derek Mason.
I wasn't ready for that.
Yes.
Go ahead, Papa Smurf. Make that pick.
I am not making my pick until my theme song is played. Well, my theme song, y'all got me though. Y'all got me. That's a good one. That was a good one.
It's tough at the top.
It's tough at the top. It's tough at the top, man.
There we go. There we go.
It's tough at the top. I understand it, man. I work so hard to be at the top, and it's still tough up there, man. Whew. All right. With that being said, I was gonna go to my good friends, his son's team, and pick Kennesaw State, but I'm not going there because that's like picking Michigan State for me. So, with that being said, I am going with Memphis.
Go!
State, baby!
Go Tigers, go, baby!
That was my number one choice.
Yes.
Memphis is a 6-point dog playing in the Gasparilla Bowl.
Hell
at
yeah.
Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, the same stadium that Vanderbilt will be playing.
That's true.
When they go down to what used to be called the Outback Bowl, and I can't even remember what it's called.
The
now.
ReliaQuest Bowl.
The ReliaQuest Bowl, where they'll play the Hawkeyes. We'll get to that one down the road. But first things first, Memphis is going down there to try to get a win. A 6-point dog against the Wolfpack. All right. That brings us to Hal Gill, trying to move up from third place.
All right. Well, you know what, fellas? I haven't been paying much attention, but I think I think I have to go with Vandy.
It is not eligible.
Vanderbilt is ineligible because they do not play until December 31st.
You can take them. You can possibly take them down the road. I don't even know if they're underdogs. Do we even have that? But
they're. I believe they may be an underdog.
So
no, I'm still bitter, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm still bitter.
What? How?
I wanted them in the first round.
How? I got a
wanted
question.
to see them roll. I was excited about it.
Okay.
And so because they're not in there, I'm going to blow up the system, and I'm going to take the most points I can for the worst team there is, and I'm going to go with JMU for the win.
So there was motive. He set the panel up by throwing Vanderbilt out there, and then he's going big with the Dukes. A very Sanders-esque. A Sanders-esque pick.
Well, this could put you. This could put you on the top, Hal.
They ain't gonna win. That's what I'm looking for.
James Madison is going on the road to Oregon as the 24th ranked team in the country. Oregon is a 21.5-point favorite. So the Dukes for 21.5 against the Ducks. The Dukes and the Ducks.
There we go. Who you think?
College football playoff, Autzen Stadium. That is Saturday, December the 20th, a 6:30 start on TNT. Yeah, so I know I'll probably be that guy flipping around. Where are the games? Where are the games? It's on TNT. All right, that brings us to Adam Vingan, currently 12 points behind the leader.
So I'm also considering, you mentioned, Derek, taking Kennesaw State over Western Michigan. That is a 4-point spread. That's an intriguing matchup. But I'm going to go with my heart here, and I am going to go with the Old Dominion Monarchs to defeat the South Florida Bulls in something called the Staff DNA Cure Bowl.
Wow.
South Florida is a 5.5-point favorite.
Okay.
Ah, yes. Now, what is the name of the bowl again?
The
Cure
Staff
Bowl.
DNA Cure Bowl
The Staff DNA.
at Camping World Stadium in
Do you have to have staff?
Orlando.
Just rolls off the tongue.
No, it's not staph infection. It's staff, like STAF.
You
F.
gotta have staff.
ST
Gotta have staff to go to the game.
I don't know what staff DNA is.
I attended many bowl games in the
Staff?
in the old Citrus Bowl. It even was called the Tangerine Bowl once upon a time when I first moved to Orlando. So I
So
saw a lot of.
staff cancel Tangerine Bowl. No, I'm messing with you.
And here was my highlight in the Tangerine Bowl or the Citrus Bowl. Field goal kicking contest.
Willie Donick.
1983. 12-year-old Donick wins the 12 and under age group. The winning, everybody at their age group competes now for tickets to see the Super Bowl in Tampa at the Big Sombrero. Marcus Allen and the Raiders against the then Redskins with John Riggins, Joe Theismann, those guys. Donick from 25 yards out. He was money against his age group. Now he's got to do it with pressure on. Hooks it to the right. Dang it! I could have been at the Super Bowl.
Was it a automatic hook like you as soon as it came off your
No,
foot?
I thought it had a chance.
Oh, okay.
I thought it had a chance. It was replayed on the TV stations that night, too. I was excited to see myself, but
we need to find
missed
this
the kick.
footage.
Yeah, we got to find the footage.
It's there somewhere. All right, let's recap. This is what we have for Week 16. Chris Sanders, right now in last place, but still within striking distance, trying to piece his way back into it.
What place?
Going a little fourth.
Okay.
Fourth in a field of four. So last. He takes the Boise State Broncos in the LA Bowl, a 9.5-point dog against the Washington Huskies. Derek Mason, a.k.a. I'm not going to say it, D. Mason. I'm not going to do it to you. We've already played the theme song. He's got 45 points. He takes the Memphis Tigers, a 6-point dog against NC State, and they are playing down in Tampa in the Gasparilla Bowl. Is that right?
Yes.
The Gasparilla Bowl. You said it.
Hal Gill, right now in third place, 20 points back, is going big. He is going in the college football playoff first round and selecting the Dukes of James Madison, a 21.5-point dog as they take on fifth-seeded Oregon out in Eugene. If Hal could win this game, it would shock the football world, and he could find himself in first place.
Yeah.
He could. And then Adam Vigan, right now 12 points behind, trying to chip away at it, selects the Monarchs of Old Dominion. They're playing down in Orlando. 5.5-point dogs against the South Florida Bulls in what used to be called the Citrus Bowl. Now it's got Camping World Stadium.
Camping World Stadium.
Okay. Well, 2 picks to go after this week. Let's see what happens. A little time. Guys, enjoy the little break. We'll talk to you before Christmas. And gentlemen, good luck.
Hey, man, it's freezing up here. Whew. Wind is blowing up at the top. What is it looking like down there for you, Chris?
Shut up.
Oh, man, y'all enjoy y'all week, but I hope y'all lose y'all games, okay? I
Good
really
luck
do.
to everybody. Hal, Chris, good luck. Now it's your turn to pick. 615-737-1025. The first caller will represent the people, and if you are correct, you will win a pair of tickets to see Trevor Noah at the Ryman Auditorium on February 10th. Reminder, the game you pick must be played through December 22nd. That's the limit. 615-737-1025. The first caller could win a pair of tickets to see Trevor Noah at the Ryman Auditorium on February 10th. Call now, 615-737-1025. We'll wrap up the show next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D-Mace, Vingen, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Smashville Live is coming up next, live from Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue, starring Luke Evangelista and Nick Blankenberg. Preds Insiders with Willie Donick and Adam Vingen at 7 o'clock. So you'll get your hockey fix right here on 102.5 The Game. But it's time to get our people's pick. Let's go to our phone line and welcome in Dr. Locke. Dr. Locke, welcome to the competition. Your selection, please.
What's going on, fellas?
What's happening? Who you got?
I want to start off by saying I love the ODU love. That's where I went to school. I was a Monarch.
Raised in Virginia Beach.
Oh, absolutely, 757 through and through.
Damn right.
So, but you know, my heart. I was born. Well, I can't say born. I raised Virginia Beach, born Akron, Ohio. So we got love for the OH.
All right. So what do you got? What's the pick?
Oh, the U.
You're going with the U. Okay.
Always go against the SEC. Yeah, give me the U, baby.
Okay, Miami is a 3.5-point dog as they take on Texas A&M in the college football playoff down at Kyle Field, College Station, Texas. That game is an early one on the 20th, 11 a.m. on ABC.
So good luck, Dr. Locke. If that pick hits, you will be going to see Trevor Noah at the Ryman Auditorium on February 10th. So good luck to you, sir. One texter during Silly Underdog Pick said that I should be penalized 10 points for my take on In-N-Out Burger to start the show.
So that guy that texted you, he would camp out for the burger.
Yes.
No.
All I'm saying is this. I turned on Fox 17 this morning, and they had a reporter at the In-N-Out Burger. I believe it was the one in Lebanon. It was before the sun had risen, and there were people lined up for In-N-Out Burger. Now, if I'm not mistaken, these locations are the easternmost locations of In-N-Out in our country. I think that's right. So I get it. You may have never had the opportunity to go to the West Coast to have an In-N-Out Burger, but I'm telling you, it's not worth waiting in line for at the crack of dawn, even before the crack of dawn. That's all I'm saying. I like In-N-Out. I'll be going, but I'm not going to be camping out. That's all I'm saying.
I want to know who was the first person to actually get a burger this morning from In-N-Out Burger. Who was that guy or gal?
I don't know.
Top of the morning with the burger. What time would that have been?
Were they open at what, 5:30?
No, I don't think they serve breakfast.
Oh yeah, they don't serve breakfast. Oh wow,
8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something like that.
Can you get a burger that early?
I
guess so. One texter said, a little late to the party. I was showering. Great. The only time
TMI.
The only time I waited for a burger for hours or outside any store like that for some time was in college when a McDonald's opened. They were giving out 100 meal passes to the first 100 people who entered the store at midnight. So we got there at like 8 p.m. and ended up being roughly 100th in line. As midnight drew near, some people let others cut in line. I ended up like 102nd in position. I did get 20 meal passes, though.
Okay, I can see that because you're getting more than just what you're buying that day. But if you're paying $35 for a burger and fries, I'm not getting up that early to be the first person to get that burger and fries.
I wonder if that inspired the Larry David Chat and Cut.
Ooh.
How do y'all feel about Chat and Cut?
The Chat and Cut is you can't do that.
No, the Chat and Cut is forbidden.
You cannot do that.
Forbidden. So for those of you who don't watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David, as you might expect, and a lot of us too, was against people who would approach somebody in line who was ahead of you in line, and they would start chatting with that person, and in the midst of chatting would just blend into the line. They would cut the line because they were chatting with somebody in the line.
Yes.
That's a big no-no.
Yeah.
Yes. And Larry David lets that person know in no uncertain terms. He goes,
no,
I see what you're doing.
Now, in a different situation, he was granted the opportunity to cut in line at a buffet because he had already gone through the line once. And the person said, when you're getting seconds, you can just go right up to the buffet. You don't have to wait in line.
No, you got to wait in line.
I believe that's what happened.
Yeah, you got to wait in line.
But the Chat and Cut, I'm very anti-Chat and Cut.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen it in person.
What if they're family members?
Kids. Kids.
Yeah, what if like the wife come in later,
Yeah.
or the husband comes in, or the two,
Here, I will make an exception for, like, if you're getting in line and it's like let's say Bridget and I are going somewhere and I get in line and she parks the car.
Okay.
Like, I think that's okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
Yeah.
Okay.
but it's not like
Technically, though,
it's
that
not
could be
technically
could be accused.
But it's not like if I were in line and Willie comes up to me and goes, "Hey, Adam, what's going on? Let's catch up. Let's talk about the show." And then he just sort of
blends in.
Slides
right in.
No. I'd say, Willie, get your ass back there.
You know where this really comes in? It becomes tough at the movie theater. Like your movie's starting in about 5 minutes. You want to see the previews, and then you got dad, mom parking the car, and then all of the kids and they all come into the line. And you not only are they getting food before you, but they're getting not popcorn, they're getting 7 popcorn, 7 drinks.
And you're looking at your watch. Like movie starts in a minute.
I will say, on Black Friday, I took my son to see Zootopia 2 at the movie theater. And as we were parking, there was another family getting out of their car, and they had like 5 kids.
Were you trying to beat them?
I picked up Arlo.
You ran the bootleg.
I picked up Arlo.
Yes.
And I said, "Come on, buddy, we're going to be late." And I hauled ass because I didn't want to be behind the 7 people in the family.
I would have did the same thing.
That's
so
legal.
I don't blame you.
That's legal. That's hustle. That's called hustle.
That is hustle.
That's hard play right there.
I didn't want to wait behind the 5 kids deciding what candy they wanted or the popcorn or the hot dog. No.
I don't blame you. I would have did the same thing.
I go in with a game plan. I want popcorn, bunch of crunch, and a soda.
Are you a bunch of crunch person?
Hell
Give me
yeah.
some. I'm a bunch
Damn
of crunch
straight.
person. There we go.
We found common ground.
Yes,
absolutely.
That's right. That'll do it for us today. An eclectic show, I guess you could say. But that's why we love to
In-N-Out
do this.
Burger,
Yes.
Papa Smurf,
Yes.
Chat and Cuts,
Bavakwa. We covered it all, and we will do so again tomorrow at 3:00. We will be live at Bridgestone Arena, where the Predators will host the Blues. Elliot Friedman will join us at 5:00 to tell us what he's hearing around the NHL. But Smashville Live with Max Hers, Kara Hammer, Luke Evangelista, and Nick Blankenberg coming up next.
Be love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful day. I love you. The team love you. You hear that song? Don't you forget about us, because we won't forget about you. We will see you tomorrow, 3 p.m. on 102.5 The Game. Peace.